of just leading from the front and has held onto it. And we've just got a few more corners left to go, and he's closing in on this battle between Sewell and Maxwell, but across the line will go Harrison Day. And what a win from the young man. The 15 bike comes across the line, and he's going to have a huge margin ahead of Oliver Hall. He's going to pick up another podium, so congratulations goes to Oliver Hall. Arm up in the air. You can see how excited he is to pick up another podium. He's starting to rack them up now, and across the line here comes Travis Shaw. First podium of the season for Travis Shaw. Well done to Travis Shaw. First podium for him. Lewis Hull will come in 4th place, but you can see all 3 riders delighted as they cross the line.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's brilliant to see all these riders learning as they go along in this AC40 rookies class, and now they're learning what it feels like when all their hard work pays off. You can see Oliver Hall was delighted with that one, but there's battles still brewing on in this race as Chloe Sewell battles it out with Callum Maxwell for 5th place as Callum Maxwell comes towards the line to take the flag, and it will be Callum Maxwell that takes that 5th spot ahead of Chloe Sewell, and the number 134 of Zach Penegar down in 7th place after crashing and rejoining earlier on in this race. But yeah, you can see just how delighted Harrison Day was with that win, and equally how happy Oliver Hall and Travis Shaw were with those podiums as well. But like you say, for Oliver Hall, he was looking for that podium for so long, and once it came, they came like London buses. Once one came, they all came to follow as well. So Oliver Hall, a name we expect to see consistently on the podium in this AC40 Rookies Cup. But a brilliant win then for Harrison Day, who took it by 13.7 seconds it was in the end.
Yeah, what a run from Harrison. Now 15 is going to be strong all weekend. Now next up we have the AC40 Pro class. This is the step up from those rookies that they're making their introduction into racing, and of course they're 40cc engines and restrictor plates on them on the exhaust to slow them down somewhat. But the rookies were first up. They will be riders from age 6 and up, and of course to make it to the pros you need to have done a little bit of a stint in the rookies, which they've all done, and we've got the likes of Ethan Sparks, Archie Gibbs, Josh Williams, Archie O'Brien. It's a really stacked field, and we've seen all throughout this season this AC40 Pro class is no slouch. They are very quick young riders. Yeah,
absolutely. So you see when the AC40 rookies make that step up into the AC40 Pro class, it's not an easy step at all. We saw Austin and Byron Johnson have made that step up into the AC40 Pro class, and they've done really well at their first time in this AC40 Pro Championship. But it's not an easy step at all, as the riders at the front of this championship are very quick indeed. The likes of Ethan Sparks, who's picked up 7 wins, and he was 2nd in the championship last year. So a rider very familiar with these AC40 Pro machines and looking to pick up the title this year, and looking in a good place to do it. 70 points he is the lead that Ethan Sparks has over Archie Gibbs, and he'll be looking to extend that lead this weekend. He is starting on pole position there with the Scottish flag on the knee sliders for the number 62 of Ethan Sparks, lining up with a 55.7, not that much quicker than Archie Gibbs, so we can expect to see some battling in this one.
Yeah, we can. So it will be Ethan Sparks lining up on the pole alongside Archie Gibbs in 2nd place. Josh Williams back in 3rd with Thorley Trevorrow in 4th. Archie O'Brien back in 5th with Marco Holt in 6th position. Bill Harris in a good 7th place back with Luke Fitchett rounding out row 4, with Byron Johnson and Austin Johnson locking out row 5 in 9th and 10th, their 2nd round after making that step up from the rookie class. And Noah Guillory in 11th position on the last row of the grid, and it will be once again Ethan Sparks versus Archie Gibbs. We've seen it quite often throughout this season. Ethan Sparks just seems to have the measure of Archie Gibbs, and as you say, a pretty hefty size gap in this championship, and with a good weekend, perhaps even two or three more wins, Ethan can lock out the championship next round at Red Lodge.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's been really consistent at the front of this championship. He's only been off of the podium once, and that was actually a DNF. So every race that he's finished, he's managed to rack up some consistent points in this one. But at the moment, his sights are going to be set on this race one for the AC40 Pros, and that man on the number 3 machine, Archie Gibbs, will be looking to take a win away from the number 62 of Ethan Sparks. But with loads of names in this one, who's it going to be for race 1 for the AC40 Pros as they head down to turn 1 for the first time? It's a good start there from Archie Gibbs, who was second on the grid, cuts across the nose of the number 62 of Ethan Sparks. So it's Archie Gibbs currently leading this one. Ethan Sparks slotting himself into second place, but a red flag already in this race. So something has happened here in this race. So red flag here, and we've only done a couple of corners.
Yeah, so everyone just takes a chill pill, just cools down, and we think it might be for a jump start. They've just decided to restart it all, and obviously everyone just getting a little bit too excited off the line there as they look to the red lights. The red lights hadn't gone out yet, just before everyone started to make that mad sprint towards turn 1, and but we will get restarted very, very shortly. They're making their way back around to the start-finish line, and it will give us some more time just to talk about this championship that is really starting to heat up. As we said, Ethan Sparks, big lead, 70 points in that championship over Archie Gibbs. Josh Williams back in third with Archie O'Brien in fourth in this championship. But Archie Gibbs looking very strong, and apart from a couple of issues that we saw early on in the season, Archie, that's why we see Ethan with such a big lead, because Archie had a couple of issues back at Lid, and it really hurt him in this championship. Yeah,
absolutely. So I mean, one of the things that was really helped Ethan Sparks in this championship is his consistency, and we've got to give full credit to Ethan Sparks for that. But it's always been someone else who's been battling with him. It's either been Josh Williams, or it's been Archie Gibbs, or on occasion it's been a couple of other names like Marco Holt, Archie O'Brien, and it's never been a consistent threat. But as we get this race back underway, Ethan Sparks will be looking to pick up another win in this one, but it's Archie Gibbs now who leads this one as they go through the first complex for the first time. Brilliant move there from Marco Holt going round the outside of Joshua Williams, but Archie Gibbs now with a little bit of breathing space already on this first lap, but don't expect anyone to be able to break away in this one, as this depth of field is quite competitive indeed, as Joshua Williams tries to go up the inside of Marco Holt as they go through the hairpin for the first time down into the second hairpin. Joshua Williams does take that position away from the number 58 of Marco Holt. So a brilliant bit of racecraft there for number 78 of Joshua Williams. A rider we saw challenging for wins earlier in the season, but just dropped off in terms of form lately. Yes, and one rider that has taken his place is Marco Holt. And Marco, who finished third all three races in Ella Park, had a brilliant start there from third and got up from sixth into third, but has just been dropped back down to fourth, but in fact sweeps back up the inside of Josh Williams, back up into third place, as this fight for the final step of the podium has got Archie O'Brien. And as you say, Archie O'Brien, who we spoke to, has been very impressive, and he'll be equally looking at picking up another podium. But up at the front, it's Ethan Sparks, and who is starting to check out, because Ethan and Archie, I say, at the front of this one, and once again, those two just seem to be glued over the last two rounds or so. But Ethan Sparks closing in on Archie Gibbs for the lead of this one, and they've got themselves already a pretty good gap of just over 2 seconds to Marco Holt in third position. However, this battle between the pair of them will slow them up somewhat, so it will allow Marco, if he can put an extra shift on, to close into the back of this leading pair. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, Ethan Sparks is doing a good job at the moment to just follow Archie Gibbs for now. Just setting a hot pace at the front of this race. Still plenty of time to go in this one. So, Ethan Sparks just making sure both these riders at the front can set a blistering pace and try and pull away from the rest of the field, as they are doing very well with a 3.2 second lead over Marco Holt. But Archie Gibbs is leading this race, the number 3. But Ethan Sparks looking to the inside as they go into the hairpin. Can't quite make a move stick there, and perhaps lost a little bit of time there, did the number 62. But Archie Gibbs leading this race, not coming up on our timing screens at the moment, but is out the front in this race, just ahead of the number 62 of Ethan Sparks, as they head into the closing stages of this lap, going through down into that nice swooping final corner. We've seen plenty of action there so far in these practice sessions. A lot of moves made at that final corner, and quite a few crashes. Yes, it seems to be
way. It has almost a slight bump just in the middle of the corner, the second apex, that has been catching out a couple of the riders. But we did notice, and we were commenting on the fact that we were watching Archie and Ethan in qualifying, and they both look very smooth on these bikes, don't they? And you can tell when a bike is going fast, and both the pair of them in qualifying were just looking so smooth, so assured, and down the inside goes Ethan Sparks, not quite close enough to get the run on exit on Archie Gibbs, but both these riders looking very good on these mini motos.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ethan Sparks just loses a little bit of time there when he tries to go up the inside of Archie Gibbs, and then has to use the rest of the lap to get back onto his back wheel. So he either needs to just commit to that pass there, perhaps he's just having a look to see where he can make a move later in this race. Of course, still 3.5 laps to go in this race, so still time for a move to be made there. As we look back at this battle for third place, 4 riders here battling for that final spot on the podium. Marco Holt it is that's currently leading that one on the on the 58 machine, the blue and yellow bike, and Joshua Williams trying to take that away from him, but Archie O'Brien and Thorley Trevorrow also in that battle as well. So this battle hotting up really nicely between all of these guys. As you can see, Archie O'Brien looks to the inside of Joshua Williams and makes a move stick there for 4th place. He's going to be trying to pick up a podium in this one. You can see that gaggle of riders there further back, but this battle at the front between Archie Gibbs and Ethan Sparks, you can see Archie Gibbs just lost a little bit of time there again on that back straight, perhaps just looking to the inside, just overdoing it a little bit into that hairpin, and just loses the drive. Archie Gibbs seems to get a really good drive out of that hairpin.
Yeah, he does, and that is where you're going to get Ethan Sparks needing to improve to close in on the race leader Archie Gibbs, just with 3 laps left to go in this one. Up the inside goes Archie Bryan. Marco Holt's going to hold on to the position. Archie's going to have to go the long way around if he's going to get up the inside. He goes onto the grass. He just stays on the bike. Brilliant bike control there from the young man. Just got squeezed onto the grass, and we were talking about how the grass is very slippery. It rained very heavily yesterday, so that was a brilliant bit of bike control there. You could see that Archie just got out of the throttle in time for him to stay on the bike. Here comes Ethan Sparks down the inside. Can he get the run on the exit off the hairpin? Once again, around the outside goes Archie Gibbs, but alongside is Ethan Sparks as they come up towards turn 6 at Stewart, and Archie Gibbs just holding on. A little bit of a wobble there from the rear tyre of Ethan Sparks, but you've got to think this is going to go right down to the wire. Ethan looking very racy. In fact, he's going to take a look to the inside in towards Sunny Bend. Can he get the move done? He comes down the inside. Not quite close enough. Archie very much shutting the door in Ethan's face.
Yeah, Ethan at this point in the race is very much desperate to try and get past the number 3. He really wants that win and to be picking up points for this championship. Keeps having a look for a move down into the hairpin there, but then just loses a little bit on the exit of that one. And this is the final lap of the race for these guys then. Number 62, Ethan Sparks, looks to the inside. Will he make a move at the next hairpin? Is he close enough? He's going to have a go on the brakes as they head down into the hairpin. Not quite close enough to make a move stick. Makes a clever move there to just box in behind him and see if he can make a move later in this lap. Has a look as they head to the bottom end of the circuit. Not quite able to make a move stick here. Just a few more corners left to go of this Rowrah circuit. Will it be the number 3 of Archie Gibbs, or will it be Ethan Sparks? Ethan Sparks looks to the inside, can't quite make a move stick. Just a few more corners to go as they go through the left-hander down towards the final corner for the final time. Ethan Sparks looks to the inside, he does make a move stick, but will Archie Gibbs be able to get the cut back? It's going to be a drag to the line. Who's it going to be? It's Ethan Sparks that takes the win ahead of Archie Gibbs. A brilliantly timed win there for Ethan Sparks, but who's going to take that battle for third place now? It's Archie O'Brien who led it last time across the line. Now Archie O'Brien does take a podium in this one ahead of Marco Holt, Joshua Williams and Thorley Trevorrow in that battle as well.
What a race from Ethan Sparks and Archie Gibbs. Ethan Sparks picking up the win on the final corner of that one after being behind the entire race long. But Ethan Sparks, your championship leader, once again picks up another win on the season. That's his 8th win of the season, and it is what a race. And that's the 27 there of Austin Johnson in his second round, and Austin not particularly happy. You can see the bike pulled off to the side of the road there, maybe not ending the race in the way that he was hoping. His brother Byron Johnson in 8th position in that one, but it is Ethan Sparks who took the race win ahead of Archie Gibbs. The pair of them came across the line separated by a 1/10 of a second. Archie O'Brien in 3rd position picks up another podium after wrestling away from Marco Holt in 4th position. Josh Williams just held off 5th position from Thorley Trevorrow in 6th as the pair of them came across the line, split by less than half a tenth of a second. Luke Fitchett back in 7th with Byron Johnson in 8th, Bill Harris in 9th, and Noah Guillory was promoted up to 10th with Austin Johnson unfortunately retiring on that last lap. But Archie Gibbs, Ethan Sparks have now shared 1st and 2nd for the last 5 races, so brilliant consistency from the pair of them.
Yeah, absolutely, and consistency is going to be what wins this championship, and Ethan Sparks is doing a brilliant job of being consistent out the front of that one, picking up his 8th win of the season in that race. So and that's exactly why he's got a 70 points and more lead at the front of that AC40 Pro Championship. And it was a brilliant race right till the end of that one. Ethan Sparks played it really clever, made a move right at the final corner.
Yeah, very assured, and we've seen it in the likes of the senior mini motos of moves being done right on the last lap. And we've said it before, I'm sure we'll say it again, that Archie Gibbs, now that that's happened to him on the last corner of the last lap after leading the entire race, he won't make that mistake again, will he? He will make sure that door is firmly closed, because he took a wider line going into the final corner, and it allowed Ethan just to really send it, and up the inside he came. But now rolling out on circuit, we've got the pit bike 140s and the Extreme 200s, and Jamie King out on circuit. He's looking at picking up the championship lead. No Jamie Nesbitt this weekend, which it means it is a big weekend if you are Jamie King, who is well within a chance of taking this lead in this pit bike 140 class. We spoke to him, he said he loves this circuit. It's a long way to go, but when he gets here he enjoys it.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can see why he enjoys it, because it's such a brilliant circuit here at Rowrah. Loads of different style corners, up, down, off camber, hairpins, absolutely everything here. But it's the Extreme 200s running in this class this weekend. This is FAB-Racing, round 6 of the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championships, the official partner series to BSB, and the road to MotoGP. And a lot of these riders in this one already on that road to MotoGP. Pole position will be for the Extreme 200s, and the pit bikes will be for the number 43 of Ryan Hitchcock, a British Talent Cup rider, currently 9th in the championship over in British Talent Cup, and doing a good job over there. So an example of one of the riders you see coming up through the ranks and now is back here this weekend and all season so far to be practicing, training, having fun, and also giving us some exciting racing in this one. But expect to see Extreme 200s clearing off in this one, as they're a little bit quicker than those pit bike 140s.
They are, and they will be out on circuit and will be showing off as we usually see from this pit bike 140 and usually motor team, but it will be Extreme 200s. But hello and welcome to everyone watching, whether you're in the paddock, whether you're watching live on FAB-Racing YouTube or Facebook pages, and or if you're listening, of course, on motorsport.radio on the radio station, or if you're watching the live video coverage on all of their social media channels. Make sure you give us a like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff you do on the socials, and get in touch with us. We love to hear all your comments, who you're supporting, where you're watching from, and what you'd love to see this weekend. Next up, we have the Pit Bike 140s, which is why you can hear the earth start to shake from under your feet. I'm sure you can hear it from the southeast corner of England all the way up to the northwest corner here in Cumbria. And it will be, once again, Ryan Hitchcock, Rossi Banham, Taylor Lawrence, Jamie King, the likely lads at the front. With a lack of Eddie O'Shea and Charlie Nesbitt, it is really on them to pick up some good points to take away this weekend. Jamie King, watch out for the 76. He's got a lot to take away as they look to the lights. Ryan Hitchcock on the pole will go as we got lights on, lights off, and off down towards turn one. It's a brilliant start there from Jamie King from third on grid. Can he get the inside? Not quite into second position, but behind you can see everyone just filtering into position. But Ryan Hitchcock on that 43, good start from him, leads away.
Yeah, brilliant start there for Jamie King. You could just see him got off the line really well there. His reaction times were brilliant off of the line for the number 76 of Jamie King. Eager to rack up the points this weekend with no Charlie Nesbitt here this weekend. It's 24 points that he has over that Charlie Nesbitt has over Jamie King. So it's not going to take much for Jamie King to be able to reel that in this weekend. But it's the number 10 of Taylor Lawrence, who's just ahead of Jamie King in the pit bike 140s at the moment, as we see a rider trying to get back onto the circuit, drifting his way off of the grass and onto the circuit there. Brilliant bike control from that rider there. Looking back here at the race further up the front, just looking at the number 127 of Callum Beach currently in this one. Also Reece Peacock in there as well, but it's Jamie King who leads the pit bike 140s ahead of Darren Anderson and Callum Beach, who's in third place in this one. But Ryan Hitchcock is who leads the race overall. He's on an Extreme 200, so expect to see him clearing away as there we see the number 43 of Ryan Hitchcock on that KTM 85cc machine, quite a bit quicker than the pit bike 140s, so expect to see him clearing off into the distance. But it's all about that race in the pit bike 140s, and Jamie King doing a brilliant job in that one at the moment.
Yep, moving up past Darren Anderson as well. Jamie King, as you say, holding on to the lead in the pit bike 140s, and Ryan Hitchcock will be out there leading and probably setting some pretty blistering lap times as well, as you say, on a slightly more powerful bike. And off down to the edge of the circuit goes one of the riders, just clipped by it looked like it was Jamie King going around the outside and off into the wall and back on his feet, which is good to see, but maybe not the way we wanted the race to go, with 10 laps left to go in this one. I'm not sure if that was something leaking from that bike there, because you saw the way it went down, and when we saw it on the side of the track, it just seemed to be steaming or something, and that was the rider that we saw rejoining from the side of the track earlier in the race. So I'm not sure if perhaps there's something leaked onto the rear tyre of that rider and forced him to go down. But that's number 127 of Callum Beach, who's now at the side of the circuit. He was in a good position in that one, so not the race that he would have wanted. But here is the number 10 of Taylor Lawrence, who's currently leading this one, using every inch of the track there, from definitely learning from the likes of Charlie Nisbet in this class. But it's the number 10 that we're looking at the moment of Taylor Lawrence, who's leading the pit bike 140s at the moment, and Jamie King third in this race, but second in the pit bike 140 class. But you're going to have to think it's quite a bit of a gap now that Taylor Lawrence has over Jamie King. Yeah, and Taylor doing a brilliant job. In fact, he's looking for his best result on the season, but it is still the 43 of Ryan Hitchcock that is leading away. Taylor Lawrence, he picked up his first podium of the season back at Ella Park, where he came in third. At the moment, he's currently leading, so you've got to think that he will be buoyed by this and will be hoping to take a first win on the season. But Jamie King, as you say, is staying with him and just needs to pick up some points. He does have that slight gap back to Charlie Nesbitt in the championship, 24 points, and obviously it's 25 for a win, 20 for second, 16 for third position. And so with second position, we'd have to wait until race 2 for Jamie King to take the lead in this one. But you can bet your bottom dollar on Jamie King not giving up. But Ryan Hitchcock will be out there just enjoying passing some other bikes, it seems.
Yeah, absolutely so. Like I say, he's got quite a bit of a power advantage on that KTM 85 machine there, riding in the Extreme 200s, leading the Extreme 200s. But of course, only 2 entries this weekend for the Extreme 200s. So that's Ryan Hitchcock out the front, and Howard Taylor on the number 7, who's currently in 8th in this race, but second in the Extreme 200s. But of course, there is only 2 of them out on circuit at the moment, and that is why they are with the pit bike 140s this weekend. But Ryan Hitchcock setting a blistering pace out the front of this one, a 51.2 on that last lap, quite a bit quicker than anyone else, but you'd expect it on the Extreme 200 with 7 laps to go in this pit bike 140 and Extreme 200 race. Taylor Lawrence it is on the number 10 that's still leading the pit bike 140 race ahead of Jamie King, and Darren Anderson there, the number 56, looking good to pick up a podium as well. But it's this man out the front, number 43 of Ryan Hitchcock, who's absolutely flying away with it at the front. British Talent Cup rider who's here having a bit of fun, doing a bit of training and enjoying his racing as he carves through the pit bike 140 field here at Rowrah. And it's always good to see the names that have come up through the FAB-Racing or the FAB-Racing ranks up into the British Talent Cup, up over to BSB, and they come back to this championship and give us some more entertainment.
They do, and it's not just the bigger bikes they come back into, because we're going to see Ryan Hitchcock later on today in the LC40 Elites, back on the mini motos, where he's in a championship fight with Charlie Huntingford, and that's really starting to hot up as well. But we can see Pit Bike 140s really allows these bikes and these riders to go out there and get involved in some really good battles out on circuit. And we've currently got Sean Whittaker and Howard Taylor, the 12 and the 7, that are out there on circuit together. And it is the 12 of Sean Whittaker, the 7 of Howard Taylor on the Extreme 200 bike, and they are battling down in 7th and 8th position. However, you can see plenty of other riders out on circuit just following and trailing each other. We've just gone past 50% in this one, and we often see with the pit bike race, and as much as we do with most racing on two wheels, that all these riders like to leave those moves right until the last minute, that last lap, to make sure that your competitor can't get back past.
Yeah, absolutely so. I mean, that's the last lap is the one that counts, isn't it? Where you finish across the line is absolutely what counts, as we see the number 29 of Reece Peacock there battling out with Darren Anderson, and that's a battle for the podium in this Pit Bike 140 race, as they just come around to some lapped traffic. So the battle for the podium hotting up really nicely with 5 laps to go in this Pit Bike 140 race. Reece Peacock all over the back of Darren Anderson at the moment in this one. Darren Anderson using every inch of the track there as they go down into the hairpin. Reece Peacock has a look, almost made contact there as they went into the left-hander, but wasn't able to make a move stick, and he's definitely lost a lot of time there from that move.
And Taylor Lawrence in second position has also started to... he's built a 5-second gap over Jamie King. So Jamie King cannot do anything with Taylor Lawrence's pace that he's showing in this one. So Taylor Lawrence currently leading that Pit Bike 140 class. Jamie King in second. Darren Anderson in third. But as you said, being really involved in this battle with the 29 of Reece Peacock, and the pair of them are going to go right down to it. We've got just over 4 laps left to go in this one as Ryan Hitchcock crosses the line and has a huge advantage over anyone else, of course, on that Extreme 200. 20 seconds up the road from Taylor Lawrence, who is leading the Pit Bike 140 class. Jamie King in second, Darren Anderson and Reece Peacock coming across the line, split by less than half a second. However, this is going to go right down to the end. We often see with the pit bikes, and you can see there just that they do have the ability, unlike maybe the mini motos, to use maybe the runoff area that is available.
Yeah, absolutely so. They use every inch of tarmac do the pit bikes, and you can expect to see the likes of Johnny Garnes, Lucas Brown, and all the riders in the GP50s and GP70s doing the same thing, as obviously with the suspension, as Ryan Hitchcock pulls a wheelie there with 3 laps to go. He knows he's got this one in the bag. 20 seconds ahead of Taylor Lawrence, and quite a bit ahead of the second place Extreme 200, who's there down in 7th place on the number 7 of Howard Taylor. You see them using every inch of the circuit, and that's something that we saw a lot at the beginning of the season with the likes of Charlie Nisbet, Brad Ray. They were jumping all over the curbs, popping wheelies and doing all sorts, but the main thing was there that they use every inch of the circuit, and that's what these riders are going to be, riders like Ryan Hitchcock are going to be learning that they need to be doing when they get onto the big circuits over at the British Talent Cup, and clearly mastering it here at Rowrah.
Yeah, and we've already seen the likes of Brad Ray, Storm Stacey, so obviously 2 BSB riders have come down and entered themselves into this Pit Bike 140 class. So obviously it's a competition that the BSB riders enjoy coming down to, because the competition is everywhere. And equally, when you've got the likes of Charlie Nesbitt, unfortunately he's not here this weekend, Eddie O'Shea, of course, British Talent Cup rider, and then you've got Ryan Hitchcock, Jamie King. So it's a lot of fun. We can see Ryan Hitchcock out there just popping a wheelie down the back straight, but although they go out there and showboat for us, they equally put on a real show.
Yeah, and it's really important for riders to be coming back and doing these events, because as much as racing is very serious, and there's a lot of stress involved, and they're going to be looking to try and get the best results they can. They need to be doing these things to make sure they're still enjoying their racing, and these fun events that they can have some good hard racing, but have a lot of fun, and that's the main thing. If they're enjoying their racing, they'll be doing well, and so coming back here and doing these things is extremely important for every rider to make sure that they keep enjoying their riding, no matter how stressful it can get over at the likes of BSB and championships like that. As you can just see there, the number 43 of Ryan Hitchcock really enjoying his way around this Rowrah circuit, popping wheelies, and has a hefty 25-second lead on this Pit Bike 140 and Extreme 200 race. But Taylor Lawrence is who looks really comfortable to be picking up first place in the Pit Bike 140s. But Ryan Hitchcock absolutely untouchable at the front of this one, and understandably so on that Extreme 200 as he comes around the final few corners for the final time. Down, pops a wheelie down into the final corner, comes through the final corner for the final time. Brilliant win for the number 43 of Ryan Hitchcock. Comes across the line on one wheel. Absolutely brilliant stuff from the number 43, but it's going to be the number 10 of Taylor Lawrence who's going to pick up that Pit Bike 140 win for race 1 for the Pit Bike 140s here at Rowrah, the round 6 for these Pit Bike 140s. And you can see just how much of a lead that Ryan Hitchcock had over Taylor Lawrence. We didn't even see him come across the line.
No, as he does come across the line. So Taylor Lawrence takes what is his best result on a season. He picked up his first podium in race 3 back at Ella Park, and now he does 2 better. He gets on the top step of that podium. Jamie King comes home in second, so now moves within 4 points of Charlie Nesbitt's lead in the championship. It's going to be Darren Anderson and Reece Peacock battling out over the 3rd place in the podium. Across the line will come Darren Anderson. He picks up 3rd place in class in that Pit Bike 140s, but it is Ryan Hitchcock that wins the overall race in a brilliant time there, 3 seconds faster than anyone else on circuit, and he takes that one from Taylor Lawrence, who wins the Pit Bike 140 class ahead of Jamie King and Darren Anderson coming in 2nd and 3rd in that Pit Bike 140. Then we had Reece Peacock, Jack Andrews and then Howard Taylor, who picked up 2nd in the Extreme 200 class, with Matt Lindley, Sean Whittaker and Ben O'Keefe making his way up into 10th position. So good race there from Ben into 10th on the 64 bike. But Ryan Hitchcock, is almost like he knew that we were talking about him through that, as he pretty much spent almost half that race on one wheel, it felt.
Yeah, absolutely. So it felt like he knew the cameras were on him, and he was just popping wheelies all around that circuit, enjoying his racing and picking up good points in that Extreme 200 Championship. But in the Pit Bike 140s, Taylor Lawrence taking a brilliant win in that one, and we can't take anything away from the number 10 of Taylor Lawrence picking up a brilliant win in that one. And Jamie King closing in that championship lead out the front. But next up, it's going to be the MKGP 50s. This is a class where young riders will have graduated from their mini motos, and it'll be the first time they get to grips with some geared bike machinery on these 50cc 6-speed gearbox Metrikit GP 50s, and it's going to be an extremely exciting race in this one, as we've got a battle for the championship hotting up really nicely, just 21 points between Ethan Sparks and Ronnie Harris.
Yeah, and this is one I really enjoy watching, because it's going to be Ethan Sparks versus Ronnie Harris, you imagine, for the rest of this season. And Ethan Sparks, who I'm sure will be buzzing after that last corner, snatching a victory in the AC40 Pro class. And so he will be going up against Ronnie Harris. And Ronnie, who has maybe got a point to prove after making a slight mistake in Ella Park a couple of weeks ago, which cost him the chance of staying with Ethan in this championship. Ethan's built that lead out to 21 points, but behind they've got a huge gap, 133 points back to Mason Foster and 141 back to Ollie Horner. So these pair of riders are absolutely flying away in this championship. Ethan Sparks with 6 wins and 12 podiums, yet to finish outside of the top 4. Ronnie Harris with 5 wins and 13 podiums, and in fact the only 2 times that he's finished off of the podium has been when he's scored no points and made mistakes. So a fall at Wilson Mill and a fall at Ella Park. But Ronnie Harris, who is a very fast starter, he will be starting in 2nd position, and he will have his eye on the turn 1 and very much on Ethan Sparks, knowing that he needs to start recovering some points on Ethan Sparks. And with Ethan with a 21 point advantage, if they are going to be 1st and 2nd pretty much the rest of the season, as we've seen from the pair of them, then you're going to have Ronnie needing to pick up wins over 2nd position. But it will be Ethan Sparks in the 62 and lining up on the pole position. The Ronnie Harris, who will be in the 66 in 2nd place, and the pair of them were split by half a second in 1st and 2nd. Ollie Horner will line up in third, with Cameron Sewell, a brilliant qualifying session. And watch out for Cameron. He's my dark horse this weekend. He has been brilliant here at this Rowrah circuit, at the West Cumbria Kart circuit. Blake Wilson in fifth, with Charlie Huntingford in sixth. Sam Munson, the 72, will be coming in seventh as he backs into his grid slot in seventh, with Harrison McKay in eighth. Philip Sroviak in ninth position, with Clayton Edmonds in 10th, with Jacob Stevenson and Casey Sperry in 12th position. And then rounding out the 7th row will be Harry Payne and Ollie Sims, and they will be heading down towards turn 1 very, very shortly, getting ready for this one. Ethan Sparks, Ronnie Harris, I can't wait for this one.
Yeah, it's going to be a really exciting race in this one, with your top two in the championship on that front row, and it's going to be a battle between those two, with both having a pretty fairly close times in qualifying, but Ethan Sparks half a second quicker than Ronnie Harris in qualifying, but both into the 54s, so it'll be interesting to see what these two are going to be able to do. So it's it's going to be a brilliant battle in this one between those two, but equally the likes of Ollie Horner, who we've seen on pole position quite a bit, third on the grid. Can he make his way up into and battle with the likes of Ethan Sparks and Ronnie Harris? Cameron Sewell, like you said, really strong this weekend on the number 100, the blue and yellow bike, looking really strong this weekend, pace that we haven't seen in other circuits from the number 100 of Cameron Sewell, and he's going to be looking to pick up his first podium of the year.
Yeah, he will. Best result so far this season for Cam Sewell is 6th position, and last time around in Ella Park was his most successful round of the season, where he picked up 25 points in total across that weekend. So watch out for the 100. As I said, dark horse as he rolls into his grid slot in 4th position. Very much you can tell who he is on the side with big Cam, so that's easier for us to work out. Ollie Corner in 3rd. He has 2 pole positions to his name, and Ollie has been very good, but it will be the 66 and Ethan Sparks as they look to the lights, getting ready for their first race of the weekend here in the MK GP50 class. The 66 versus the 62 as they get ready to head down to turn 1. Who gets the launch off the line? Lights on. It's a long pause and a jump start. It's a jump start. You can see the lights seem to be on for a long time there, and everyone just getting on the throttle a little bit early. So we roll back, and I'm sure Roger and Rob Keys, they just settle down, get ready to go, wait till they go out, and it's going to be, once again, lights on. Lights off. Who gets the jump off the line? Ethan Sparks with a very brilliant launch down towards turn 1. Ronnie Harris filters into 2nd. Sam Munson in 3rd position, jumps ahead of both Cam Sewell and Ollie Horner. And Cam Sewell has jumped ahead of Ollie Horner as well. But what a brilliant start there from Blake Wilson, the 108.
And there's a problem there for the number 100 of Cameron Sewell, who just runs wide, looking like he was just and that's Harry Payne as well that's gone down. So disaster for Harry Payne as he looks to try and get back onto that black MK GP50 and back into this race. But Cameron Sewell looking as if he's recovered from whatever problem he had there, perhaps just missed a gear or something. But Casey Sperry with a brilliant start, coming from 12th on the grid up into I believe 5th or 6th in this race. So a brilliant start there for number 20 of Cameron Sewell, but just slotting in behind the number 72 of Sam Munson. That is Harry Payne, who's trying to get restarted in this race. He's going to be quite a way behind these guys, so it's just going to be about picking up points for the number 11 of Harry Payne. But look at this battle here between Ollie Horner, Sam Munson and Harrison McKay, who looks up in the inside at turn 2, not quite able to make a move stick there. That would have been a brilliant move if he could have made that one stick. Yeah, that was, you could see he has his eyes lit up ready to make that move as Clayton Edmonds tries to go up the inside of Cameron Sewell, who's had a dreadful first lap, dropping down to 8th position. So Clayton Edmonds trying to go around the outside, gets the move done as they go into the second hairpin at Ardales. And now down the back straight, you can see Ollie Horner has got very much his vision as he looks behind him full of red, and he's desperately going to try and keep Sam Munson behind. But at the front, Ethan Sparks and Ronnie Harris already starting to build a lead. Ethan Sparks came across the line with a half-second gap over his title rival Ronnie Harris, and we know that Ronnie's got to start taking points off of Ethan Sparks. But Ethan Sparks got a lightning start off the line, got it into turn 1, and
now very much it is job on if you're Ronnie Harris.
Absolutely, Steph. Incredible start there for the number 62 with Ethan Sparks, and trying to pull away at the front. 7/10 of a second was the lead across the line, and he's just stretching that lead out at the front. And Ronnie Harris is going to be doing all he can to get back onto the back wheel of the number 62 of Ethan Sparks. But a name we haven't been talking about so far in this race, the number 108 of Blake Wilson, up into third place. That's a good start for Blake, who's come back from 5th place on the grid up into 3rd. So a good start there from Blake Wilson, looking to pick up another podium in this class. Had a good weekend last time out at Ella Park, and that battle for 4th place between Ollie Horner, Sam Munson, Harrison McKay hotting up really nicely as well. You can just see Sam Munson all over the rear wheel of Ollie Horner at the moment, looking to see where he can make a move stick. Harrison McKay just recovering from that almost move earlier in the race. Just lost a little bit of time from that one, as Sam Munson gets alongside the number 70 of Ollie Horner, makes a move into turn 1. So that's Sam Munson, the number 72, up into 4th place. Brilliant move there from the number 72 of Sam Munson. The Munson burner, he likes to be called, but I think you could just see in the top of the picture there, that was Ronnie Harris, who's now caught up to Ethan Sparks. But Ethan Sparks setting the fastest lap of the race on that last lap with a 54.9. But a 55.0 it was for Ronnie Harris, matching his pace completely at the front.
Yeah, really, really good start from Ethan Sparks, who's just been putting in some stellar laps to open up this race. We've got 9 laps left to go on this opening race of the weekend for the MKGP 50 class, and that's Cam Sewell at the side of the circuit. Disaster. We were saying we were looking forward to him, but you said that it looked like he might have a bike issue, and he pulls to the side, and disaster for Cam. You can see just how disappointed he knew that he had a brilliant grid position of 4th, had a really good shot of a podium in this one, but unfortunately for him, pulling off to the side of the road and out of this race. Ollie Horner still closing in after losing that position to Sam Munson, and Ollie is he's probably one of those, he's just outside of that top 3, isn't he? He's picked up a couple of podiums, he's picked up a lot of 4th positions, and he just needs to get into that extra gear to get himself up into that regular podium and race winning contention.
Yeah, he's always there or thereabouts as the number 70 of Ollie Horner. Picked up a couple of pole positions, hasn't quite managed to pick up a win so far this year, but has picked up a few podiums and has had a very good season so far. He was 4th back at Lid, picked up a few 4ths there, managed to bridge that gap to the podium in the following rounds, and in a good place in this race as well. Currently 5th in this one behind Sam Munson, but Blake Wilson has managed to stretch a lead over those guys. The number 108, he's in 3rd and has got a good bit of a gap ahead of Sam Munson and Ollie Horner, that battle for 4th and 5th. But here he is then, Ethan Sparks, who's just stretching that lead out at the front. 1 second it is now that Ethan Sparks has over Ronnie Harris. We haven't seen much of these two this race because they've just checked out at the front of this one, and Ethan Sparks, you can see there, going down into the far end of the circuit. Still 7 laps to go in this race, so anything can happen in this one, but Ethan Sparks looking really strong at the front of this one. Ronnie Harris just needs to be able to regroup and try and get his head down, hit all his markers, put in some smooth, consistent pace, get into a rhythm, and see if he can get back onto the back wheel of Ethan Sparks. But Ethan Sparks has been able to get into a rhythm of his own and just absolutely nailing the laps at the front and just stretching that lead lap on lap, setting fastest lap after fastest lap. 54.6 for Ronnie Harris, but for Ethan Sparks rather. But as Ethan Sparks gets quicker, so does Ronnie Harris. A 54.7 from Ronnie Harris, so almost matching Ethan's pace at the front, but just not quite able to close in that gap, because if Ethan can keep putting in those lap times in, Ronnie Harris won't be able to catch Ethan Sparks. But he's putting in a brilliant effort to try and do it. Yeah,
and when Ethan Sparks gets into a mindset like this, we've seen this from him a couple of weekends so far this season, and I don't like to pull puns on people's names, but he is lightning in a bottle. He just turns it up to another level, and when he's on it, he is on it, and you can tell he's just eking that lead out over Ronnie Harris. Is now up to 1.1 seconds. Now it is Ronnie that needs to take points off of Ethan, but Ethan now scything his way up and passing Harry Payne, and laps the 11 bike there, and he's now put himself a huge distance. He's made up 5/10 of a second on Ronnie Harris on that last lap, and goes purple again. So Ethan Sparks is coming alive in the late stages of this one. We're just over 5 laps left to go, so we're over halfway through this one, and Ethan Sparks is just riding off into the distance. Ronnie Harris is really struggling to stay with him.
Yeah, he's absolutely flying at the front. Every lap he seems to come round. It's the fastest lap of the race, and really consistent as well. 54.6 and then a 54.5 on that last one, and just able to put a pace down that no one else can quite stick with. Ronnie Harris is just trying to hang on to the coattails of Ethan Sparks, but Ethan just with a pace in this race that that no one really has an answer for in this race one for the MKGP 50s. But look at this battle brewing for fourth spot between Sam Munson, Ollie Horner and Harrison McKay. Sam Munson's just got a little bit of breathing space now ahead of the number 70 of Ollie Horner, but Harrison McKay all over the rear wheel of Ollie Horner as Ollie Horner just manages to get up back with Sam Munson. Has a look down into the final corner, can't quite make a move stick as they head on to the front straight. Just lost a little bit of drive there to the number 70 of Ollie Horner, but he'll be right back onto the rear wheel of Sam Munson in no time, as he already is there back onto the back wheel of Sam Munson. Harrison McKay there also looking really menacing and just looking like he wants to be able to get through on these guys. Harrison McKay, another rider we've seen regular podiums for the number 61 of Harrison McKay on that True Heroes liveried bike there, a livery that you'll be familiar with if you watch the Ducati Tri-Options or even over in Stock 1000. But here in the MKGP 50 race, Harrison McKay doing what he can to try and get past these guys. But Sam Munson doing a good job to cling on to fourth place as well.
Yeah, Ollie Horner just taking in that turn 6 a little bit too wide at Stewart, and he just lost a little bit of time to Sam Munson in fourth position. But Blake Wilson, he's having a nice run in third position on his own, but up at the front, Ethan Sparks has now built that lead out to 2.8 seconds. He's just put the afterburners on in this late stages of this one, and Ronnie Harris has got nothing to answer him with. And last time round he was a comfortable 3.5 tenths of a second faster than Ronnie Harris, and Ethan Sparks is riding off into the distance. We're coming around to start 2 last laps, and he's coming up to the penultimate lap board very, very shortly. And Ethan Sparks is having a brilliant day so far. Of course, picked up the AC40 Pro win on the last corner with a move on Archie Gibbs, and now in the MKGP 50s on the metric hit bike, he's looking pretty well nailed on if he can keep it on 2 wheels. The final 2 laps of this one as he comes across the line to take the penultimate lap, and Ethan Sparks will lead by 3.2 seconds. So even in these late stages, he's just building that gap out and out and out, so he's just pushing as much as he was at the start.
Absolutely. 2 laps to go for these guys, and Ethan Sparks, one thing that he's been able to do really well in this race, as well as put down a consistent pace, he's been able to get through the back markers, get through the lap traffic a little bit quicker than the number 66 of Ronnie Harris has been able to do, and that's what's helped stretch out that lead for the number 62 of Ethan Sparks. But of course, that consistency at the front and that solid fast pace for the number 62 of Ethan Sparks is really what has helped him in this race here. He's gone well here at Rowrah in the past. Seems to like this circuit. Obviously picked up a win, like I said earlier on, in the AC40 Pros, and looking really comfortable at the front of this race one for the MKGP 50s as he goes on to start the final lap of the day for the MKGP 50s. Goes down into the left-hand hairpin for the final time, and he's just been brilliant at the front of this one, using all the circuit. At 3.6 seconds it was over the line, so a comfortable win it's going to be for the number 62 of Ethan Sparks as he heads down to the far end of the circuit for the final time. You can just see there, just cruising around this final lap. He knows he's got this one in the bag. He knows that Ronnie Harris is a good 3.5 seconds behind, and he's going to be able to take this win on with style as he heads down to the final few corners. The number 62 of Ethan Sparks comes round the penultimate corner, down into the final corner for the final time. What a ride it's been for the number 62 of Ethan Sparks. Takes the flag. Brilliant win there for the number 62 of Ethan Sparks, and Ronnie Harris it is that will take second place on the number 66. The battle for the championship continues at the front, and Blake Wilson is going to be taking third place there. Brilliant podium from him, and that battle for fourth hotting up as well at the front. It's Sam Munson that won that battle.
Yeah, it was, and he comes across the line ahead of Ollie Horner and Harrison McKay by 0.4 of a second as Clayton Edmonds just jumps up ahead of Casey Sperry on the final lap. Charlie Huntingford in 9th position, and Felix Roviak matching his best result on the season in 10th position, with Ollie Sims and Jacob Stevenson in 11th and 12th. Harry Payne down in 13th. But you can see the 2 title rivals on circuit and shaking hands and thumbs up to each other. But Ethan Sparks once again Burkin showing us that he is a rider to watch out for in the next few years. He is definitely going to be one of those ones that you want to keep your eye on, and he takes the race win ahead of Ronnie Harris in second, with Blake Wilson another podium for him in third place. Sam Munson held off the fight of Ollie Horner and Harrison McKay for fourth position. Clayton Edmonds in seventh, with Casey Sperry in eighth. Charlie Huntingford in ninth. We'll see him in the LC40 Elites later today. Philip Soroviak in 10th place, matching his best result on the season. Ollie Sims, Jacob Stevenson and Harry Payne rounding out the finishers, and unfortunately we lost Cam Sewell, who started in fourth but had a bike issue, pulled to the side of the road. We'll see if we can get Cam on circuit later this weekend. He'll be back tomorrow, I'm sure, after they've got that bike all fixed up. But next up, Tristan, we've got the senior mini motos. Now, it's a slightly different senior mini motos this weekend. Of course, we've got the regular championship going on, but let us know who else is entering this weekend.
Well, it's going to be a really interesting one in this one, because there's going to be plenty of names that we recognise, but it's going to be the fathers of a lot of these junior riders that we see that are having a go in an organised dads race that was organised on Facebook just before this round. And a lot of the dads of all the riders here going to be having a go in this senior mini moto class, and trying to get one on each other on track, so which is going to be brilliant to see. But it's the usual suspects at the front of the senior mini moto grid, with Matt and Josh Birkin out the front, Bernie Hook, Andy Weedon also up there. But going to be one to look out for, with names such as Justin Foster, father of Mason Foster. Dave Sellers is going to be in there, Simon Huntingford, Paul Bannister in there on that different looking mini moto with those high bars on that the number 199 of Paul Bannister. So this is going to be an interesting one indeed, but it's going to be the number 5 of Matt Birkin who's going to be lining up on pole position for this race 1 for the senior mini motos. Josh Birkin on the number 4 lines up just next to him, ahead of Andy Weedon at the number 7. He's going to line up in 3rd place. Bernie Hook in 4th place, ahead of Holly Harris, the number 15. Adam Ambrose, the number 21, is 6th place on the grid, ahead of the number 711 of Nick Bennett. Justin Foster down in 8th, ahead of Dave Sellers, stock 1000 rider, down in 9th place on the number 112. Number 47 of Simon Huntingford, he'll be in 10th place on the grid, ahead of Elliot Holt, Paul Johnston and Paul Bannister in 13th spot, ahead of the number 116 of Danny Shaw, rounding out the grid on that AC40 bike.
Yep, so it looks almost going to have 2 separate races here. We're going to have those senior mini motos that will be headed by the Birkins of Matt and Josh in 1st and 2nd. Of course, then you've got Andy Weedon, who took 2 race wins and snatched the race win ahead of Holly Harris on the final lap of both the opening 2 races of the weekend back in Ella Park. He'll be in 3rd, with Bernie Hook, championship leader and reigning champion, in 4th, Holly Harris in 5th, and Adam Ambrose, and then Nick Bennett. But then you've got the dads race, and watch out for that one. That is going to be a lot of fun. We cannot wait for this one, but it will be Matt versus Josh Birkin. Matt Birkin in the fluoro yellow leathers, Josh Birkin in the black and red leathers, as they look to the lights, get ready for the first race of the senior mini motos weekend. 1 of 3, lights on. It's a jump start, and we've got plenty of racers down towards turn 1, but they're going with it. And off the line, you can see it's been a good start from several of the bikes, but Matt Birkin, off of the pole, has dropped down to 4th place.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see what happens with that one, because plenty of riders getting a jump start in that one, so possibly some penalties to come later on, but we'll have to wait and see. But it's the 2 Birkins out the front in this one. You can see there the number 0 of Bernie Hook, also all over the back of them is riders going wide in all over this place. Danny Shaw in there, Dave Sellers also in there going wide down at the hairpin, but these 2 at the front, it's Josh Birkin leading ahead of the number 7 of Andy Weedon in this one. Simon Huntingford you can also see in there. All these riders having fun, but Birkin goes up the inside of Weedon, tries to make a move stick, can't quite make it stick at this point, but plenty of laps to go in this race, and all these guys enjoying themselves out there on these mini moto machines.
Yeah, we saw them out there yesterday in the wet conditions, and it was like Bambi on ice for some of the dads. But you can see up at the front the pros, the likes of Matt Birkin, who sweeps around the outside of Andy Weedon up into 2nd position, and Matt will be back on the charge after losing the lead. Here comes Bernie Hook. Bernie Hook looking to the inside of Andy Weedon in towards the first hairpin at McRae's at turn 4, not quite able to get the move done, but Bernie on that gold bike this weekend, and he will be hoping on taking another podium, extending this championship lead that he's got out at a mammoth 89 points, and possibly looking to wrap up the championship at Red Lodge. But up at the front, it's the battle of the Birkins. It's Josh Birkin leading from Matt Birkin, and we will see if Matt can get the better of his brother. It is the 4 versus the 5, and it is the 4 of Josh Birkin leading away. But we know that Matt Birkin has got some serious pace. The last time we saw him was back at Wilton Mill, where he took a hat-trick of wins.
Yeah, absolutely so. Matt Birkin got some real good pace in this senior mini motor class, and equally does both the Birkins out the front of this one. And as long as they can stay on the bikes for the full race, they're pretty good. But we did see back at Wilton Mill, they had a couple of crashes, managed to get back on and still finish on the podium. So it just proves how fast the two Birkins are out the front of this race. You can see two contrasting styles as well. You can see Matt Birkin really gets his knees and elbows tucked in on that mini motor machine, but Josh Birkin with his legs, you can see absolutely spread on that mini moto machine. So two completely contrasting styles, but managed to go round the lap in almost identical lap time.
Yeah, and they're starting to break away, and here comes Matt. Can he get a launch down the inside? Will his brother see him? Not quite close enough this time, but Matt, I'm sure, will reload and get ready to send it next time. Behind you, we've got the battle still going on between Andy Weedon, Bernie Hook, Holly Harris now coming into that fray, and that is the fight for third position. But Matt Birkin now lining up Josh into turn 1. Can he get the move? Not quite close enough to get alongside. He'd have to sweep around the outside line, which is offline and obviously not as fast. A quick glance behind goes Josh Birkin, just to make sure to find out where Matt is. But last time around, Matt goes purple with a 56.731, a tenth of a second faster than the race leader. You can see Bernie Hook really ducking down and trying to minimise as much drag as possible. So he's trying to get on with it. He's trying to get past Andy Weedon, but Andy Weedon's had a really good last few rounds.
Yeah, absolutely so. Andy Weedon, a really good weekend back at Ella Park, picked up a win back there on the number 7 machine, waited right until the last lap to snatch it away from the number 15 of Holly Harris. Holly also in this battle out the front, but these two just pulling away now, the two Birkins out the front. It's currently Josh Birkin that leads over Matt Birkin at the moment, but Matt Birkin will be looking to try and make his way through on his brother Josh. They were very close lap times earlier on today, but also Matt Birkin taking the fastest lap of the race so far.
Yeah, he did, but the pair of them came across the line split by less than half a tenth last time around. So Josh is matching Matt for pace as they're out there, and you can see this battle is still going on between third position of Andy Weedon, Bernie Hook, Holly Harris and Adam Ambrose. And around the outside goes Bernie Hook into third position, managed to get the drive out of the exit of turn 4 at McRae's hairpin, and now out of Ardale's he got the move done, and now Bernie Hook into the podium position in third. Holly Harris will be next up to have a go at Andy Weedon. You've got to think, if you're Holly, you definitely want to get on one on Andy after stealing those wins, but Matt Birkin is equally going to try and take one away from Josh. And I've got it down in my notes that Josh Birkin is the only rider, I think, so far this season in any category this whole season that has gone down twice in one race, yet still finished on the podium. We often call it a Birkin bingo, that we see one of the bikes there that has got the chain that seems to have come off, so already issues for one of the bikes further on down the field. But in the battle of the dad's race, it's Simon Huntingford that is leading that one from Justin Foster in second, and that's another rider to the side of the track. So we're starting to lose them, but down the inside goes Matt Birkin. Can he get a drive out the corner? But Josh is going to cut back and takes first place back, but it's going to be a drag now back down the back straight, and Matt sweeps around the outside into the lead of this one. So it took just over 4.5 laps, but Matt Birkin finally, after starting the pole, back into the lead of this one.
Yeah, absolutely. So he was just biding his time, and now he's got a mammoth lead in this one. So perhaps had something in the tank there, and is just able to immediately stretch out a lead in this race. So, but Matt Birkin absolutely flying in this one on the number 5 machine. You can just see there, that's the number 15 of Holly Harris just fending off the number 21 of Adam Ambrose. That's the battle for 5th place going on, and also right on the back wheel there of Andy Weedon. So all these riders at the front, all quite close in this one. You can see there number 0 of Bernie Hook looks as if he's closing in now on the two Birkins. The two Birkins out the front, not so far away from these guys at all. So real close racing in this senior mini moto race, but it's the two Birkins out the front that no one seems to be able to lay a finger on at the moment. But it's between these two at the moment, the number 7 of Andy Whedon and Holly Harris, who are battling out there a little bit further back for 5th place in this race. Holly, a rider we've seen on the podium and taking wins in the senior mini moto class in the past as well.
Yep, and Holly, who, when she picked up her first race win at Clay Pigeon, became the first female race winner in the history of FAB-Racing. So she will be looking into adding to that tally, and she's now got to pass Andy Whedon for 4th position. Up ahead, Bernie Hook is really starting to put the pressure on Matt and Josh Birkin. He's now got himself within 0.3 of a second of Josh Birkin, and last time around went purple and set the fastest lap of the race, a 56.333, so almost 0.6 of a second faster than both Matt and Josh Birkin, who are leading this one. Matt Birkin from Josh Birkin, Bernie Hook in 3rd with Andy Whedon, then Holly Harris, Adam Ambrose and Nick Bennett in 6th and 7th, and then the battle of the dads is being won currently by Sammy Huntingford. Dave Sellers is in 9th with Paul Johnston in 10th, Paul Bannister back in 11th. Unfortunately, we've lost Justin Foster. Elliot Holt, of course, son of dad of Marco Holt, and Danny Shaw, all pulling to the side of the road, not starting off their weekend in the way they were wanting, but one person that is starting off the weekend in exactly the same way that we saw him end it back last time we saw him at Wilton Mill is that man Matt Birkin, coming across the line to start the final lap of this one. Behind, Holly Harris is still desperately trying to get past Andy Whedon, and she's got to think it's almost like a nemesis there. He always seems to be in and around where Holly is on circuit, and she's going to want to get back past him on the final lap and doing exactly what he did to her last time out at Ella Park. But it is going to be Matt Birkin leading this one around. Do we see Bernie Hook behind? We do see Bernie Hook now into 2nd position. So Bernie has now made his way past Josh Birkin, and Josh has fallen off the back of this too. So Bernie, on this last lap, is really starting to put the pressure on, and Matt is going to look behind him. Where did you come from? Because he's going to have to put the hammer down, because Matt Birkin has got a few corners left to go. He missed last time out in Ella Park. He's back with a bang. This makes it 4 wins in the last 4 races for Matt Birkin. He rounds the final corner at turn 9 around Paddock Bend. Can he get the run to the line? He takes the win ahead of Bernie Hook. Josh Birkin in 2nd. It's going to be Andy Whedon taking it off against Adam Ambrose, who in fact jumps ahead of Holly Harris into 5th position. Nick Bennett is going to come across the line in 7th. Battle of the dads. Let's see who gets it on the line. It's Simon Huntingford that's looking as though he's nailed on to take the opening, or the hammer blow there for the dads. And Simon Huntingford, Dave Sellers, who are battling it out over 8th and 9th position in that one. They're yet to cross the line, and we will see if Simon, and Dave, it is Simon Huntingford, of course, dad of Charlie Huntingford, that takes 8th position. Dave Sellers in 9th place, Paul Johnson and Paul Bannister in 10th and 11th. Unfortunately, we lost Justin Foster, Elliot Holt and Danny Shaw from that one as everyone cruises back to pit roads, and Matt Birkin back with a bang.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant win there from Matt Birkin, and Bernie Hook there back on the podium in 2nd place. There it is confirmed then. Birkin, Hook and Birkin. So Hook there in a Birkin sandwich ahead of ahead of Andy Whedon in 4th place. Adam Ambrose in 5th. Holly Harris took 6th place ahead of Nick Bennett in 7th. Simon Huntingford, the first of the dads, in 8th ahead of Dave Sellers in 9th. And Paul Bannister in 11th place with Paul Johnson, who was in 10th place in that race.
Yep, they will be back tomorrow afternoon for their 2nd and 3rd races on the weekend, and that is the senior mini motos. And of course, as we said, we'll have a little bit of a dad involvement this weekend, and yeah, they will be. It's all about getting one up on it's all friendly rivalry in the paddock here. Everyone getting on very well indeed, but they'll all want to beat each other. But what a win for Matt Birkin in that one, the senior mini motos. He's back after missing Ellie Park, so the last 4 races that Matt has entered, he has won. But now out on circuit, well, we've still got the mini motos, but this time it's a bit younger. And in fact, we're going to see a lot of the sons of these riders that we just saw out on circuit. So we're going to see the LC40 Elite class, the liquid-cooled 40cc engine. This is a step up from the air-cooled 40cc Pros that we saw earlier in the morning. But LC40s, what's the difference between these liquid cools and air cools?
Well, quite literally, the liquid-cooled bikes are cooled by liquid, and the air-cooled bikes are cooled by air. But the liquid-cooled bikes, a little bit more power on those mini motos. Virtually the same to ride, just more power in those liquid-cooled engines. So yeah, a lot of these junior riders back onto this grids. They've stolen their bikes back from the dads, and they're ready here to do battle for race 1 for the LC40 Elites. 40cc two-stroke liquid-cooled engines here for these guys. It's the Premier class for the mini motos for the juniors is the LC40 Elites, the elite class, quite literally. But Archie O'Brien is then who's going to be lining up on pole position on that one. You can see him raring to go there on the black bike with the black and yellow leathers there. The number 91, Leon Haslam inspired 91 there on the front of Archie O'Brien's bike. You can see him there, pole position for Archie O'Brien, just ahead of the number 76 of Charlie Huntingford, who will line up next to him on the front row. Josh Bannister fronts the second row on the number 2 machine in third spot, ahead of Ryan Hitchcock. Archie Gibbs in 5th place. The number 72 of Samuel Munson will start from 6th, ahead of Casey Sperry, the number 20, and Marco Holt in 8th place on the number 58. The number 42 of Thorley Trevorrow will be line up in the 9th spot, ahead of Joshua Williams on the number 78 machine. He rounds out the top 10, just ahead of the number 7 of Luke Fitcher in 11th. Arnie Carr in 12th place, and Bailey Lawrence in 13th spot on the number 9 machine. And rounding out your grid for race 1 here for the LC40 Elites. Like I said, the Premier class for the mini motos for these junior riders, and brilliant season names like Ryan Hitchcock, who've come up through these ranks and is back here riding in this LC40 Elite Championship. Of course, British Talent Cup rider, and 9th in the championship over at British Talent Cup, with his best result being 7th place that he achieved last time out at Silverstone. But his attention will all be completely on this LC40 Elite Championship, as he's only 14 points behind Charlie Huntingford in the championship for this one.
Yeah, so it's really starting to go well for Charlie Huntingford, who's been putting on some pressure, but Ryan Hitchcock has been a thorn in the side of Charlie Huntingford, and they all filter into position. And Bailey Lawrence, who makes her first debut in the LC40 Elites after moving up, she's decided she will be lining up from 13th. We'll see what Bailey can do, but as they get ready to look to the lights, red lights on and off, as we get ready to start the first race of the weekend for the LC40 Elite class, as they head down towards turn 1. And you can see it's a great start there for the pole sitter of Archie O'Brien, Charlie Huntingford in second, but it is still Archie O'Brien that leads this one away. Charlie Huntingford, the current championship leader, is going after him. Ryan Hitchcock will be trying to stay with him. Of course, Ryan Hitchcock started on 4th, directly behind Charlie Huntingford, and you've got to think he's going to have very much Charlie in his sights.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's all about those two in the championship at the front of this one, but I'm sure they'd be wanting to get one on Archie O'Brien as well, who took his first win in this class last time out at Ella Park, and looking really strong at the front of this one already, with a little bit of breathing space over the championship leader there, the number 76 of Charlie Huntingford on the Moto Technics sponsored LC40 Elite machine. As we just see there, Josh Bannister defending his position there from the number 3 of Archie Gibbs, rider who's rider at the front of the AC40 Pro class, and also having a go in this LC40 Elite Championship as well, running on his AC40 machine. But Archie O'Brien then still with half a second lead out the front of this one, ahead of your championship rivals, just behind Ryan Hitchcock, all over the back of the number 76 of Charlie Huntingford at the moment. But O'Brien just trying to pull away at the front of this one. You can just see gets tucked in nicely on that LC40 machine. Has a little bit of an advantage compared to the likes of Charlie Huntingford and Ryan Hitchcock. As you can just see, he's quite a bit smaller, and on these little mini motor machines it does make a difference. But you can't take anything away from the number 91 of Archie O'Brien. Real mature little rider, and really riding the wheels off that LC40 machine.
Yeah, he knows exactly what he wants, and he's going out there and getting it done, is Archie O'Brien. He comes across the line and goes purple with 54.516, so setting the fastest lap of the race on that one. 7 laps left to go in this one, and Ryan Hitchcock now starting to put the pressure on Charlie Huntingford, and Ryan Hitchcock knowing that he needs to start taking points away from Charlie Huntingford. If they go side by side, Ryan just having a quick glance down there just to make sure everything's in order, but he's going to have to reload and get ready to go again. Charlie Huntingford just holding off the 43 of Ryan Hitchcock as they go down towards turn 6, and it's going to be the exit of Stewart as they run down towards turn 7 at St John's, and it is still Archie O'Brien. It's got himself a little bit of a gap over Charlie Huntingford and Ryan Hitchcock. Archie looking for another win on the season. He's only picked up 1 so far, and he will be hoping to extend that account, and but it is still Charlie Huntingford leading from Ryan Hitchcock. Sam Munson, who's 3rd in the championship, who's been going very quietly, he just seems to be picking up points here and there, is not having the best races. He's down in 8th place at the moment, involved in a pretty harsh battle between himself, Marco Holt, Thorley and Casey Sperry. So Sam Munson caught in a battle that's going to cost him in the championship, because with Archie O'Brien picking up points, he has the opportunity of leaping up into 3rd position in this one. Last time around, Ryan Hitchcock goes fastest, a 54.313. However, all 3 riders at the top end of this one were within half a tenth of each other across the line in lap time, so it is going to go right down to the wire of this one. We've got 6 laps left to go. Archie O'Brien leads from Charlie Huntingford and Ryan Hitchcock.
And O'Brien just stretching that lead out the front. The number 91 picked up 2 seconds and a win last time out at Ella Park, and really showing that he has what it takes to be at the front of this LC40 Elite Championship as he goes purple once again. The young rider from Cambridge setting the fastest lap of the race once again, and just stretching that lead out at the front. 0.8 of a second is the lead that he has over Charlie Huntingford, as Sam Munson still defending that position from Marco Holt and Thorley Trevorrow also in that battle as well. That's the battle for 7th place, with Casey Sperry a little bit further up the road. Also Joshua Williams in that battle as well, a rider we're used to seeing at the front of the AC40 Pro category. So loads of familiar names all through this field, and loads of tight racing in this class. The number 72, Sam Munson, still defending from Thorley Trevorrow, as Trevorrow makes his way up past the number 58 of Marco Holt, and is now looking to try and make his way through on the number 72 of Sam Munson. Will he be able to make a move stick anywhere around this circuit? Still 4 laps to go in this race for these guys, so plenty of time for this battle to unfold. Will Marco Holt be able to regroup after being passed by Thorley Trevorrow and make his way back through on the number 42? But it's all about Archie O'Brien at the front of this one at the moment. 1.1 seconds is the gap now that Archie O'Brien has over Charlie Huntingford and Ryan Hitchcock. Of course, those two battling it out for the championship at the front, and Huntingford is going to be looking to make sure he can score as many points ahead of Ryan Hitchcock. He's not going to be too worried about Archie O'Brien at the front. His thoughts are going to be on on Ryan Hitchcock, who's just behind him, and making sure he can stay in front of Ryan Hitchcock and extend that championship lead. Yeah, very much so. Sam Munson desperately tries to hold off the 42 of Thorley Trevorrow behind, and Thorley starting to put some pressure on that 72. Of course, Sam Munson still 3rd in championship, with Archie O'Brien coming across the line. Charlie Huntingford behind in 2nd position is now starting to close in. He took over half a second away from Archie O'Brien. That last lap he went and did the fastest lap of 54.052. 0.4 of a second faster than Archie over the last 2 laps as well. So it's starting to come down. We've got 3 laps left to go. Archie O'Brien, who is he had a brilliant Ella Park. He picked up 1 win and 2 second places, and he seems to have completely just reinvigorated his season. It was going okay, but last time out at Ella Park 2 weeks ago, he had a brilliant time. Only finished no lower than 2nd and leading this one, and with just a few laps left to go, you've got to think that Archie O'Brien is well within a chance of jumping up into 2nd and maybe not cruising up to the back of Ryan Hitchcock and Charlie Huntingford. As down at the final corner goes Hitchcock. Hitchcock down into the wall at the final corner, just lost the bike. Back up on his feet, trying to get back into the race, and you can see desperately
trying to get back on. Yellow flags out. That means no overtaking at the final corner, which is going to hurt some of the other bikes. But back into the race comes Hitchcock, but that is going to really hurt him in his championship.
Yeah, absolutely. So you could see just when he went down there, he was a little bit disappointed with himself. Took a second to almost feel sorry for himself there, but then realised that he had to get back into this race and score points for this championship. He's rejoined into 5th place, I believe, so he's going to be looking to pick up as many points as possible. Damage limitation it's going to be for Ryan Hitchcock in this race. British Talent Cup rider, but now Charlie Huntingford has managed to put himself in a perfect place to extend his championship lead even further. 14 points it was going into this race, and he's going to extend this one if he can keep it there in 2nd place in this race. But Archie O'Brien has just been absolutely brilliant at the front of this one. Got a perfect start, took the whole shot, and has just cleared away at the front of this race on the final lap for the LC40 Elite. A brilliant turn of fortune for the number 191 of Archie O'Brien. He told us that this is his learning year, and he was only looking to be picking up a top 6 in the championship this year, but he's definitely been turning that one around, because he's picked up a multiple of podiums. Last time out at Ella Park, picked up 2 seconds and a win, and looking to get his 2nd win on the bout here is the number 91 of Archie O'Brien. Brilliant little rider is Archie O'Brien as he heads into the final few corners for the final time, through the penultimate corner, down into Paddock Bend for the final time. What a ride it's been for the number 91 of Archie O'Brien. He comes across the line and takes the first win of the weekend for the LC40 Elite, ahead of Charlie Huntingford, who extends that championship lead. And it's going to be Josh Bannister who's going to be turning his season fortunes around to pick up 3rd place if he can fend off Archie Gibbs down there in 4th. But there he is then, your race leader, the number 91, Archie O'Brien. 2 wins on the bounce for O'Brien.
That young man is in some serious form, and Archie O'Brien, look out for that name, because he has been a real tear across the line. Came a very, very close battle for 7th position as Sam Munson just held off Thorley Trevorrow for 8th position, or 7th and 8th position. The gap was less than 1/10 of a second. Thorley just peeling out, but not quite able to get the move done. But Archie O'Brien, what a ride from the 91, as you were saying. A brilliant race there for the 91, and he will be delighted with that. And Charlie Huntingford extends that lead in the championship. That just small error for Ryan Hitchcock, and just cost him. We will lose a whole heap of points. He could only recover back to 4th position, managed to get past Archie Gibbs on the last lap, so he recovered a little bit. But Archie O'Brien is your race winner, ahead of Charlie Huntingford in 2nd, Josh Bannister in 3rd, with Ryan Hitchcock 4th, Archie Gibbs in 5th, with Casey Sperry moving up to 6th position, with Sam Munson 7th, Thorley Trevorrow in 8th, with Josh Williams in 9th, and rounding out the top 10 was Marco Holt. Outside the top 10, we had Luke Fitchett, Arnie Carr and Bailey Lawrence. But what a start to the day we've had here for this afternoon session at Race 1. We've had a lot of action. We've still got plenty more. Don't worry, we've still got 3 more races. We've got the Moto teams, the MKGP 70s and the Mini F1 sidecar out on circuit very, very shortly. But thank you everyone for joining us, whether you are watching on FAB-Racing's YouTube or on their Facebook page. Of course, if you are listening on motorsport.radio, the world's only 24/7 dedicated motorsports live streaming radio, with music, interviews, all things motorsport from 2 wheels to 4. If you'd like to listen to me, you can listen on a Sunday from 12 till 4 with Gareth and Lester Forbes chatting all things motorsport. But of course, you can listen throughout the day, wherever you are, by going to motorsport.radio and listening to what is a brilliant radio show. But out on circuit next, we will have Moto Team. And these bikes usually put in with the Pit Bike 140s. However, this time around, Tristan, we see them out there on their own, which I'm sure they will be delighted with.
Absolutely. It means we can focus on them a little bit more as well. The pit bike normally running, like you say, with the Pit Bike 140s. So to be able to see the Moto Team and see all the action in the Moto Team will be brilliant. 12 riders on the Moto Team grid this weekend, so quite a turnout for the Moto Team. And it's going to be all about Jason Pugh on that baby blue number 8 bike, who's lining up on pole position, and he's going to be looking to make the most of an absent Will Howarth. But of course, the number 133 Simon Clowes isn't able to ride this weekend, but because this is a team class, he has elected Tony Campana to be able to ride that bike for him and pick up points for the number 1 through 3 of Simon Clowes. But Jason Pugh then it is that lines up on pole position ahead of the number 7 of Ian Jackson. Neil Kinnaird in 3rd spot ahead of the number 133 of Tony Campana on Simon Clowes' bike there in 4th spot. Fraser Kinnaird in 5th ahead of Vince Bailey in 6th. Alistair Kinnaird is in 7th spot just ahead of Mark Pollitt on the number 65. Gus Milling on the number 36 bike, he's in 9th spot ahead of Ian Todd. Phil Mapplebeck in 11th ahead of Philip Joyce on the number 119 machine in 12th. And rounding out your grid is the number 46 rather of Reese Todd Brown in 13th spot, and rounding out your grid for this race 1 for the Moto team. It's quite strange saying Moto team without putting a pit bike 140 ahead of it, but I'm excited to see what these guys are going to be showing us in this race and how that battle for the championship is going to be playing out.
Yeah, it is a big weekend for Jason Pugh with no Simon Clowes, although he does of course pick up points with Tony Campana picking up points for him on that 133. It is a big weekend for Jason Pugh as he rolls into first position on the 8, now as you say, that baby blue and red bike. The 133 of Simon Clowes' bike, ridden by Tony Campana, is currently leading the championship. Will Howarth had taken the lead, leaving Ella Park, but it is close between the pair of them. Jason Pugh, however, will be looking at taking the championship lead, leaving this weekend as they get ready to look to the lights as we get ready for the first race of the weekend here on the Moto team. Lights on, lights off, and once again down towards turn 1. Jason Pugh gets a good launch, but off of 3rd position there. You can see that was Neil Kinnaird trying to go up the inside of Ian Jackson, not quite able to get the move done. Ian Jackson on that pit bike looking bike, however, it is restricted to a 125, so it is the same pace as the rest of these bikes. Gets up alongside Jason Pugh. Jason Pugh just weaving the bike side to side there, maybe just trying to find some extra tyre temperatures early in this one, but he's going to go wide and that's going to open the door. He tries to cut back and close the door on Ian Jackson, but Ian Jackson's going to have the inside line, but Jason Pugh just holding on to the lead of this one. But yeah, the leader's going side by side there into turn 6 at Stewart, and who gets the run on exit? It looks as though we might see almost a dead heat. They're still side by side and they're now being joined by 2 other bikes. We can see that is Neil Kinnaird and Tony Campana battling out for lead, but you can see a brilliant start, Jason Pugh, but he's got Ian Jackson swarming all over him.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant stuff for these guys, and now takes the race lead as Neil also goes into the first corner, tries to go up the inside of Jason Pugh there, but it's Ian Jackson who's holding on to that race lead at the moment. But a brilliant battle brewing between all these guys quite close at the moment, using every inch of the track. There was the number 7 of Ian Jackson.
Yeah, in Ian Jackson, we've just heard from race control with a 3-second time penalty for a jump start, so Ian Jackson currently under threat of dropping all the way down to 7th position. That's just how close it is at the moment in the Moto team, and this is what I like about the fact that we've got the Moto teams on their own, is that usually when we see them surrounded by pit bikes, they all spread out and we tend to not really see them fighting each other. Now they're all together on track. You can see the top 7 all split by 1.7 seconds across the line last time around, so this is much better from what we see from the Moto team class. Yeah,
absolutely, it's brilliant to see all these guys battling it out, and to be seeing it all the time as well, as the number 7 of Ian Jackson still leading this one. But like you say, 3-7-second lead at the moment because of that jump start that he had earlier on in the race. So what he really needs to do is to be putting the hammer down and trying to clear off as much as he can to try and finish as high up as he can in this race. Of course, he won't know that he's got a 3-second penalty at the moment in this one, so possibly trying to play it clever at the moment and stay in front of Jason Pugh. But really what he needs to be doing is trying to really put the hammer down and get as much of a gap as he can, because that 3-second penalty will put him down to 5th place in this race as it stands. But of course, as the race goes on, those gaps will stretch out. Of course, still 10 laps to go in this race. Ian Jackson did set the fastest lap of the race on that last lap, but Jason Pugh all over the back of him. So Jason Pugh currently 2nd place on track, but as results stand, will be 1st place in this race.
Yeah, Ian Jackson, who took the race for 3 win at Ella Park and 2 second places in race 1 and race 2, had a good weekend, but maybe not started the right way this time around with that penalty, it is going to allow Jason Pugh, who can just sit with him. But, you know, if you're Jason Pugh, we know exactly what he's like. We often see him on circuit fighting with Simon Clowes, who unfortunately cannot be racing this weekend. We do send our best wishes to Simon. Hopefully his arm does recover after an incident at Ella Park, and he gets back on the bike 2 weeks' time in Red Lodge. But you can see it does allow Jason Pugh, who goes purple last time around, a 57th lap, 0.3 of a second faster than your race leader, Ian Jackson, and he's just staying in the tracks of that pit bike looking bike up ahead of him. But Jason Pugh doing a good job at the moment, leading this way, and in fact getting very close indeed, just putting the feelers out there, just seeing where Ian gets a little bit uncomfortable on the braking.
Yeah, absolutely so. He's just trying to see if he can make a move stick. Of course, Jason Pugh won't know that Ian Jackson has a 3-second penalty, so he's looking to try and battle as hard as he can to try and get this race win away from the number 7 of Ian Jackson, and he's going to be looking to do absolutely all he can to get past the number 7. He thinks he's going to be having to get past him for the win of this race. Neil Kinnaird also doing a brilliant job down there in 3rd place. The number 133 there we're just looking at now, riding on behalf of Simon Clowes this weekend. Simon Clowes Racing essentially is there for Tony Campana, who's scoring points for Simon Clowes this weekend. Of course, this championship being a team championship, so as long as he's registered as the same team, he's down to be scoring points for Simon Clowes. But that's Jason Pugh now with a brilliant move there, who's just taken the lead in this Moto team race. He had the lead anyway, technically, due to that 3-second penalty that Ian Jackson has, but now he has the lead on circuit as well, and I'm sure that'll feel real good for the number 8, who's just heading into the first corner. 7 laps still to go in this race, as we just look at the battle a little bit further back there between Alistair Kinnaird and Ian Todd. They're battling out further back for 9th and 10th. Also Phil Mappelbeck in that battle as well. So battles brewing all through this field here at Rowrah. It's round 6 and it's race 1 here for the Moto team, and a brilliant battle out the front. But Pugh just half a second lead he has now over Ian Jackson. So Ian Jackson with that time penalty currently sat in 2nd on track.
Yeah, as we see the 36 of Gus Milling, Alistair Kinnaird and Ian Todd now all fighting over 8th position, and Gus Milling having moved up 1 position after starting in 9th now finds himself in 8th. Alistair Kinnaird in 9th position, and Ian Todd dropping down to 10th position after being passed by Alistair last time around. But it is Jason Pugh who's now getting faster and faster. Now he's got to the front, he is starting to open up a bit of a lead. He's just gone purple once again, a 56.607, fastest lap of the race for the number 8, and he is currently just under a second ahead of Ian Jackson, who of course is setting on that 3-second time penalty. Neil Kinnaird currently in 3rd place, and it says Simon Clowes, but it is Tony Campana riding on behalf of Simon Clowes Racing in 4th place. Mark Pollitt has moved up very nicely from 8th all the way up into 5th, ahead of Fraser Kinnaird. He's jumped on that last lap, and but is still Jason Pugh leading away and doing a good job. And we said that this was the weekend that Jason Pugh needed to rack in the points if he is to take a lead in this championship. It's looking as though if he can pick up 25 points for this one, he jumps into the championship board. Might just be actually just behind the 133, with Tony Campana currently picking up enough points to just hold off Jason Pugh. However, you've got to think that number 8 has definitely got his eyes on leaving Rowrah with the championship lead.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's exactly what he's going to be want to be doing here at Rowrah. He's been all the rounds so far, has the number 8 of Jason Pugh, and has been putting in some consistent podium finishes and always at the front of this Moto team category. Looking further back again at the battle further back with Ian Todd and Gus Milling in there as well. Also the number 5 of Alistair Kinnaird a bit further in front of those guys. So battle between all these guys brewing here at Rowrah for race 1 in this Moto team category. Brilliant start to the weekend it will be for the number 8 of Jason Pugh. Ian Jackson setting the fastest lap of the race on that last lap. Of course, doesn't know he's got a time penalty though. No,
he doesn't. So it's going to be fascinating to see if he can put the pressure on Jason Pugh late in this one as they come across the line to start 4 laps left to go in this first Moto Team race of the weekend here at Cumbria Kart Circuit in Rowrah. And we welcome you to Saturday afternoon, the first afternoon session. And we have plenty more racing tomorrow, but it's going to be currently Jason Pugh in this one, the Moto Team class, as they go around to lap one of the bikes. But we've got 3.5 laps left in this one. Jason Pugh leading from Ian Jackson. Neil Kinnaird has now fallen just out of range of Ian Jackson. So if Ian Jackson manages to hold on to this pace, he might just about hold on to second place.
Yeah, it's looking so, as he's got a 3-second lead over Neil Kinnaird in third spot. So he's just about looking to be able to hold on to that second place, despite the time penalty from that jump start earlier on in this race. But he's going to be looking to try and get past Jason Pugh. He's going to be thinking that he's got a chance of winning this race. But unless he can get past Pugh and pull out a 3-second lead, which is highly unlikely, then he'll be in second place in this race. But plenty of laps left for Ian Jackson to make sure he's got that 3-second lead over Alistair Kinnaird, Neil Kinnaird rather, who's in third place in this race as they come round to some lap traffic, making their way through these slower riders. A little bit nice and smoothly done there from the number 8 of Jason Pugh, as Ian Jackson goes up the inside there of the number 19 of Philip Joyce in third place in this race, and in 12th place in this race rather, and just rolling around in this one and enjoying this Rowrah Kart circuit here in West Cumbria. There is then number 7 of Ian Jackson, using all the track there on the exit of that corner, doing all he can to finish as high as he can with that 3-second time penalty. But like we said, looking comfortable to pick up second in this one.
Yep, as Jason Pugh comes on to the penultimate lap of this one, the first race of the weekend for the Moto teams, who are enjoying their first race out there on their own without the bother of the pit bike 140s or the extreme 200s on circuits. As we can see some of the riders just being lapped there. That's the 19 of Phil Mapplebeck, who's now just very nicely getting to side and allowing the likes of Neil Kinnaird to get through, and then you've got Tony Campana in 4th position still, so picking up some good points for Simon Clowes Racing in Simon's hunt for a championship. Of course, he is the current reigning champion in this Moto Team class, and he'll be hoping at holding on to it. But with the likes of Jason Pugh looking as though he might be picking up some good points in this one, you've definitely got to think that Simon's got some work to do when he gets himself back on that bike.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jason Pugh in the perfect position for his championship fight as they go on to start the final lap for race 1 here for the Moto team. The first time we've seen all these bikes go around in a category completely by themselves, with no pit bike 140s for them to contend with in this one. And it's been a brilliant ride for the number 8 at the front on that baby blue bike for Jason Pugh. But Ian Jackson in second place, despite that time penalty that he had earlier on. He will still be finishing in second place, as he's a good 3.5 seconds ahead of anyone else at the moment in this race. But Jason Pugh is then that's going to be taking this win as he heads into the final section of this Rowrah Kart circuit, through the penultimate corner for the final time, down into Paddock Bend for the final time for race 1 here for the Moto team. And Jason Pugh that's going to take the win, takes the checkered flag. A brilliant race win there from Jason Pugh. Ian Jackson takes second place and will be 3 seconds ahead of Neil Kinnaird there. So yeah, definitely 3 seconds ahead of Neil Kinnaird there, as he finishes 4.2 seconds ahead of the 83. So Ian Jackson it will be that takes second place in this race, despite that time penalty that he had from that jump start. Jason Pugh though with a brilliant race win, and that's brilliant for his championship, with Tony Campana finishing down in 4th spot in on behalf of the number 123 of Simon Clowes.
Yep, brilliant race there for the 8 of Jason Pugh. Managed to lose the lead off the line to Ian Jackson, but managed to wrestle it back and up into the lead of this one. But he is your race winner ahead of Ian Jackson. Even with that 3-second time penalty, Ian Jackson finishes in second position. But it is Jason Pugh that leads the Moto team and takes the first win on the weekend for the Moto team class, ahead of Ian Jackson in second. Neil Kinnaird holding on to third, just about managing to jump ahead of Simon Clowes Racing, which is actually Tony Campana in 4th position. Mark Pollitt moving up to 5th, with Fraser Kinnaird in 6th. Vince Bailey in 7th, with Alistair Kinnaird in 8th. Then Gus Milling in 9th. Ian Todd rounding out your top 10, with Phil Malferbeck, Phil Joyce and Reece Todd Brown finishing outside the top 10 in 11th, 12th and 13th. And good race, and exactly what we were thinking Jason Pugh needed to do was to finish ahead of everyone else and start picking up some points, and doing a good job here in really good job for Jason Pugh. He holds on to the lead, or just about behind the lead of the championship with Simon Clowes, just about taking it with that one, Tony Campana's points. So really useful for that one. But next up, we have the premier class here at FAB-Racing. It's the MK, the Metrokit GP70s, and this is the final step for these riders before they head off to the likes of the British Talent Cup and the BSB paddock. And well, we've had a brilliant battle brewing between Lucas Brown and Johnny Garness, and we can only expect it to continue here at Rowrah.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been all about those two at the front, the number 29 of Lucas Brown and Johnny Garness, who've both been really consistent out the front of this MKGP70 Championship. But equally, many riders like the number 8 of Alfie Davidson will be looking to try and keep with Lucas Brown and Johnny Garness and pick up wins in this championship. Of course, that's Alfie Davidson picking up a win last time out at Ella Park, but it is there, the number 29 of Lucas Brown lining up on pole position, just ahead of Johnny Garness, the number 57 times, really close in qualifying. Alfie Davidson in 3rd ahead of Harrison McKay in 4th, Mason Foster in 5th ahead of Josh Bannister in 6th, Ben Jolliffe in 7th ahead of Clayton Edmonds in 8th, Holly Harris on the number 15 is 9th ahead of Jacob Stevenson in 10th, Greg Marshall there on the number 11 in 11th, on the number 19 rather, in 11th ahead of the number 128 of Ted Wilkinson, rounding out your grid. Ted Wilkinson, a rider who's moved up from flat track, a 3-time British flat track rider, flat track champion rather, and of course rider in flat track, and here ready to do battle on tarmac. It's only his second meeting on tarmac, and he's going to be looking to keep learning. He's jumped into the deep end here in the MKGP70 class, of course the premier class for the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championships, the official partner series to BSB, and a part of Dorna's road to MotoGP, and all these riders of course on their road to MotoGP, and looking to pick up experience, and in the likes of Lucas Brown and Johnny Garness looking to pick up a championship.
They are very much indeed, and they will all have their eyes pretty firmly fixed on the British Talent Cup in the next few years, which is what Johnny Garness has done this season, making the move up after just turning 12 years old and making sure that he can get up into that championship. He now picked up a brilliant 7th place at Silverstone last time out, so Johnny comes back reinvigorated. However, Lucas Brown is very much going to be the battle on track as they line up on track, and Lucas just coming in a little bit later there, just making Johnny wait just that slight bit longer as they get ready to look to the lights. It's going to be Johnny Garness versus Lucas Brown. What can everyone else do behind? But they look to the lights, getting ready to go. Lights on, lights off as we get the MKGP70s underway. It's a great start from Lucas Brown. Johnny Garness sweeping into 2nd position behind Harrison McKay, is equally trying to get ahead of Alfie Davidson, but Alfie holding into 3rd position. Clayton Edmonds has had a good start. He's moved all the way from 8th up into 5th position. In this one, we've got Johnny Garness getting around the outside, and can Lucas go back down the inside? He's going to send it, and just about really catching Johnny unaware there. Johnny getting all out of shape, you can see, but the pair of them swapping positions as they go down the back straight already. So we've already seen 2 changes of positions for the lead in this one already. This is going to be fun. Lucas versus Johnny.
Well, both these guys really want it, don't they? And now Johnny is back ahead of Lucas Brown, so these guys absolutely throwing everything at it, trying to beat each other in this race. And we've still, it's only the first lap, we've still got 12 laps to go in this one, so it's going to be a really exciting race here for the MKGP70s. Johnny Garness comes to lead the first lap ahead of Lucas Brown. Alfie Davidson also in there, the number 146 of Clayton Edmonds, defending his 5th spot ahead of Mason Foster, but it's Johnny Garness that leads this race ahead of Lucas Lucas Brown. These two battling it out for the championship and now battling it out on track here for race 1 for the MKGP 70s. Will Garness be able to run away at the front? I don't think Lucas Brown is going to be wanting to let him have any space at the front of this one, but already got a little bit of breathing space ahead of the number 29 of Lucas Brown. So Lucas Brown now just needs to keep a cool, calm and collected head, just hit all his braking markers, all his markers around this circuit, get into a rhythm and try and get back onto the back wheel of Johnny Garness there. Using all the circuit there is Lucas Brown. That's exactly what he needs to be doing to stick with the number 57 of Johnny Garness. Of course, Garness, also British Talent Cup rider, enjoyed a brilliant 7th place last time out at Silverstone in only his second meeting in the British Talent Cup. So brilliant to see Garness already making that step up to the British Talent Cup. But his focuses are fully set on the MKGP 70 championship this weekend and clinching that championship away from Lucas Brown. But Lucas Brown it is that still has a 30-point lead in the championship over Johnny Garness. So in a late charge in this championship, Lucas Brown really doing everything he can to try and stick it to Johnny Garness as Mason Foster makes a move on Clayton Edmonds. That's the battle for fifth place. Josh Bannister also in there as well. So Mason Foster now defending that 5th place from Clayton Edmonds. Harrison McKay is also there in 4th place, a little bit ahead of these guys, and Alfie Davidson doing all he can to cling on to 3rd place at the moment. But it's Johnny Garness that leads 0.8 of a second over Lucas Brown.
Yeah, really good start to the race for Johnny Garness, the 57, and he is holding on to the lead of this one. Lucas Brown not quite able to close in on Johnny in this early stages, and he's just dropping just around about a second behind, and Johnny can now just focus on his own race for a little bit. Lucas is desperately going to try and stay with him. We spoke to Lucas and he said he just needed to take points away and be consistent. He's got this lead in the championship. It's at 30 points, and Lucas, after retiring from the 3rd race at Ella Park, that was the first time that he hadn't won in 5 races. It broke a 5-race win streak for him. And in fact, it was the first time he'd not finished inside the top 2 for 8 races. And that shows just how consistent he's been at the top end of this one. He really made the most of Johnny Garness missing a round due to a hand injury. And he's really stretched that lead out. But Johnny Garness doing exactly what he needs to do. And that is currently circulating the track ahead of Lucas Brown. Alfie Davidson, and we have to mention him, doing very nicely out on circuit as he just looks as though he had a slow exit there out of turn 4. But the number 8 out there currently in 3rd place, and yeah, doing very nicely. He picks up a win in race 3 back at Ella Park, and he's currently in the podium position and well, in quite comfortably at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely so. The number 8 of Alfie Davidson, obviously, like we said, picked up his first win back at Ella Park and looking really strong in this one in 3rd place in this race. A bit of a lonely 3rd place for Alfie Davidson in this one, with Harrison McKay a good few seconds further behind Alfie in this one at the moment. Harrison McKay also in a bit of a lonely race himself. And then that battle between 5th, between Mason Foster, Clayton Edmonds, Josh Bannister, that's hotting up real nicely as well. Currently looking at Greg Marshall a little further back. There's that battle there between Clayton Edmonds and Josh Bannister. That's the battle for 6th place, as Mason Foster has been able to make a break on these guys and has got a bit of a gap ahead of Clayton Edmonds. So now Edmonds is just defending from the number 2 of Josh Bannister. Johnny Garness then setting another fastest lap of the race on that last lap with a 50.2. Still 7 laps to go in this race, but he's got about a 1.5 second lead at the front of this one. Will Brown be able to reel that gap back in, or will he have to settle for 2nd place? But of course, if Johnny Garness takes this win, that's only 5 points that he's clawing back on Lucas Brown. Damage limitation it would be for him if he is to finish in 2nd place.
Yeah, very much so. And this is why it is the premier class at FAB-Racing, the MKGP 70s. It's the final step for these riders before they head off to the BSB paddock for the British Talent Cup, and they're on those MetroKit GP 70s and doing a brilliant job. And the likes of Johnny Garness, who's already made that step up to the Talent Cup, Lucas Brown, who's got his eyes on it, and the likes of Alfie Davidson, Harrison McKay, Mason Foster, Clayton Edmonds, they will all be hoping at making that move up in the next few years. We've got Holly Harris struggling on the bike. You see her there sitting up, perhaps having an issue. It looks as though with the gearing as she comes out of the hairpin, but back on the pace. But yeah, slight issue there from Holly.
Yeah, just looking down at a bike there, so perhaps something not quite right there on that number 15 machine, or that GP70 there of Holly Harris. Picked up her first win ever in FAB-Racing earlier on at Clay Pigeon earlier on this year in the senior mini moto category. Looking strong as well in the MK GP70s, but perhaps just struggling from a little bit of misfortune here today at Rowrah. But here's the man at the front, Johnny Garness. 1.2 seconds was the gap last time round, so Lucas Brown has managed to edge that in ever so slightly. So Lucas Brown on a bit of a charge now, slightly faster than Johnny Garness on that last lap. So will he be able to bridge that gap? We'll have to wait and see. But Johnny Garness looks so good out the front there, really smooth, really great riding there from the number 57 of Johnny Garness. You can just see him through this first complex, change his direction nice and quickly, beautifully done there. And on the brakes as well, you can just see he gets all the way onto the front of that bike. You see the rear really light, just skipping around. He's got that braking marker nailed perfectly. But that's a gap there, then still 1.2 seconds between Garness and Brown. So Brown's going to really have to try and put the hammer down if he is to catch Johnny Garness out the front.
Yeah, Johnny Garness, who is without a win, is what's going to feel like forever here at FAB-Racing. It'll be currently over a month due to the fact that it's been over 2 rounds that he's yet to step on the podium, because obviously didn't pick up any at Ella Park. But that man behind the 29 of Lucas Brown has been the one that has had a very, very successful time since Johnny broke his hand back at round 4, and he's managed to pick up 5 wins out of 6. And but this time around, it's looking as though Lucas is just not quite on the pace that Johnny Garness is showing. 1.5 seconds behind now, with 3 laps left to go. And Lucas unable to stay with the pace. Johnny Garness last time around going fastest, a 1:51.70, 4/10 of a second faster than Lucas Brown, and he built that gap out to 1.58 seconds. And ahead, well, they're now 13-14 seconds ahead of anyone else, with Alfie Davidson having a very I said lonely race, but Harrison McKay is now starting to join him. So Harrison McKay late in this one, we spoke to him on Friday, and he said he wants to get on the podium. Well, he's got a good shot. He's just going to pass Alfie Davidson. Yeah,
absolutely. So not far away from Alfie Davidson at all. So Harrison McKay and Mason Foster. Mason Foster's done really well to catch up on Harrison McKay, all over the rear wheel of McKay now. So Mason Foster's going to be looking to pick up at least 4th position in this race as Harrison McKay goes down. The number 61 goes down at the penultimate corner. He tries to get that bike restarted and back into the race. So disaster for the number 61 of Harrison McKay. They're just straightening out the handlebars there, trying to make sure that bike's good enough to get back onto and back into this race. And he does rejoin this race further down the field. So that's gifted Mason Foster 4th place in this race. So Harrison McKay, perhaps a problem there, but something stuck, no brakes or throttle stuck open there, because he didn't seem like he could slow down as they went into the final corner, and that was a terrible accident there for the number 61. But it's Johnny Garness then leading this race at the moment, and that promotes Mason Foster up into 4th place, and he's going to be looking to charge and try and catch Alfie Davidson for 3rd. But that's brilliant stuff then out the front. That's 2.6 seconds it is on the final lap of this race. 2.6 seconds is the lead from Johnny Garness to Lucas Brown. So you're going to have to think Johnny Garness has this one in the bag as he goes through the hairpin for the final time.
Yep, Johnny Garness leaves Ardals at turn 5. Just a half a lap left to go up towards turn 6. He's going to sweep around the right-hander, and he's just got about 4 more corners left to go to pick up his first win in what's going to feel like an eternity in the MKGP 70s. And the 57, the British Talent Cup rider Johnny Garness, he picked up his best ever result at British Talent Cup at Silverstone, and this time around he's going to come around the final corner, arm up. He knows this is an important one. Across the line goes Johnny Garness, and he picks up his first win in a long time. Lucas Brown can only come home in second, 4 seconds behind your winner Johnny Garness. Alfie Davidson is going to be currently coming around the line. Can he hold off Mason Foster? Mason looking very strong in the late stage of this one, but Alfie Davidson is going to come across the line and pick up another podium. So the 8 rider will be absolutely delighted. The 88 Mason Foster in 4th. Clayton Edmonds will come home in 5th. A good race from him after moving up from 8th on the grid into 5th. Josh Bannister, he just about held off Josh Bannister into 6th, and then Ben Jolliffe and Holly Harris in 7th and 8th place. Jacob Stevenson in 9th was the last one on the lead lap. Greg Marshall and Ted Wilkinson in 10th and 11th. Unfortunately, we lost Harrison McKay with that nasty looking incident with a few laps left to go. But Garness, absolutely delighted. You could see Tristan punching the air as he came across the line. He knew he needed this one. Trying to lift the front tire, arms up there. He is absolutely delighted. He knows after a long time without a win here at FAB, that's an important one.
Yeah, absolutely so. And there it is confirmed. Then 4.1 seconds it was that Johnny Garness took the win by ahead of Lucas Brown in second place. Alfie Davidson took another podium in third ahead of Mason Foster in fourth. Clayton Edmonds took fifth ahead of Josh Bannister in sixth. Ben Jolliffe took seventh ahead of Holly Harris, Reece Stevenson and Greg Marshall that rounded out the top 10.
Brilliant race as always, and we can see that Harris McKay is up on his feet and he's walking around and probably just wanting to find out what went wrong with that bike, and looked very nasty, but he is on his feet and all good. So all good to hear that Harris McKay is hopefully going to be rejoining us for race 2, which will be coming up tomorrow morning. Of course, plenty more racing. So thank you very much for tuning in for this first race of the weekend, or the first set of races. We're here at round 6 in Rowrah. It is the West Cumbria Kart Circuit, and we're here in the absolutely stunningly beautiful west part of West Cumbria, and it is a very picturesque circuit in the middle of absolutely nowhere, but it is a lovely part of the world, and if you do get a chance to come up and visit, I would implore you to, because it is very nice indeed. And if you are watching at home, we hope you are having a very lovely Saturday afternoon and you're ready for some more action tomorrow. And if you tune in here on FAB-Racing's YouTube or Facebook page, or of course on motorsport.radio and all their subsequent social media channels. Now, next out on circuit, we have, for the final race of the day, and the final race of race 1s, is the Mini F1 sidecars. Now, Tristan, I bet your nerves are starting to jangle, your knees are starting to shake. I can hear them rattling together here, because we hear that you're going to be heading on as a passenger on one of these sidecars in a minute. Yeah,
absolutely so. A little bit nervous for this one, jumping from 2 wheels to 3, but it's going to be something different for me, and it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be really exciting as well to see these guys on circuit in these Mini F1 sidecars. It's Mick Williams that's pretty much dominated in the Mini F1 sidecars so far. Dominated in qualifying, dominated back at Wilton Mill, and you'd like to think 3 seconds a lap faster than anyone else, that he will probably be able to dominate this one as well.
He will, and it's a shame you're not heading on with Mick Williams, because I'd love to see you be thrown around the track by a very fast Mick Williams. Michael Elms will be his passenger, but yeah, I am green with envy that you're getting to do this afternoon. So, but you can see everyone here just enjoying themselves out on circuit, enjoying exactly what I would be doing if I was out there on that hillside, because what else would you rather be doing? Everyone enjoying themselves in the paddock, and it's a beautiful part of the world, and it's the FAB paddock here. It's a brilliant family community spirit, and everyone getting on very nicely indeed. All the riders, when they're not on the bike, they're out there having fun with each other. But hello to everyone watching at home, whether you're family or friends of everyone, or you're just tuning in and you've met or you've found FAB for the first time. This is FAB-Racing, the home of the best youngsters in British mini bike racing, as they make their way onto hopefully onto the BSP paddock, and they're on the road to MotoGP as part of Dorna's road to MotoGP scheme, and it is yeah, it's round 6. It is, well, we're coming very fast to the end of the season. Just 2 more rounds after this. Red Lodge in 2 weeks' time, and then round 8 at Llandau in South Wales in just over a month's time. But yeah, it is going to be, hopefully, a sensational end to the day with the Mini F1 sidecars. They are often a lot of good fun out on circuit, and we saw them sliding, drifting their way around Wilton Mill, and out on circuit, Mick Williams, we're expecting him to be pretty much dominant once again like we saw at Wilton.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, you'd like to think he absolutely dominated back at Wilton Mill and put it on pole position this morning by quite some distance, and he's taken every race win so far this season, and you'd like to think he's in a very good position before this race to be able to pick up some more wins in the Mini F1 sidecars, and it's going to be really interesting to see, and I'm going to be taking some notes as they're on circuit, so I know what to be doing when I'm hopping on one later on today.
Yeah, and you can watch that all tomorrow when we get all the highlights, and we're going to mic him up so we can hear him scream his way around this Rowrah kart circuit, and yeah, so you make sure you tune it in to Motorsport Radio or on FAB-Racing to watch watch all of the action of Tristan as a passenger on one of these sidecars tomorrow. But now out will be the final race of the day here from Cumbria Kart Circuit in the very much right on the west coast of northwest England, and it will be the Mini F1 sidecars, the 26, the blue and yellow kart, bike. There we go. Bike kart. Say it's 3 wheels. There we go. It's almost a kart, but it's going to be Mick Williams and Michael Elms leading that one away. Mark Parker in second position on the 230, with Adrian and Claire Ems, the 76, in third, with John Hosker, the 127, in fourth, and Vince Bailey will be in fifth position back on row 3. Now there's only 5 bikes, but that's not anything to worry about, because when they are on circuit, they are a lot of fun to watch, because it is brilliant bike control from a lot of these riders. They throw themselves into the corners. You can see the passengers leaning in for dear life around every single corner. The likes of Mick Williams himself even leans over to the point where it feels like he's going to completely throw that bike into a different stratosphere. Yeah, you can see, as we've said during qualifying, the passenger is as important. As you can see, very just casual there from Michael Ems as he just sits and watches this formation lap go around. But yeah, you can expect that 26, the front of Mick Williams and Michael Elms, to be the dominant force like we saw back at Wilton, where they took a hat-trick of wins.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got to think that it's all eyes are going to be on Mick Williams in this one, and it's going to be really fun to watch as well. He was drifting his way around Wilton Mill Circuit last time we saw him, so expect to see him drifting around that final corner here at Rowrah, and enjoying himself there on that number 26 outfit with his passenger Michael Elms. And like we said, these passengers so important on these sidecars, as I'm going to find out later on today. But these guys now completely focused on their race 1 here at Rowrah. Round 6 for FAB-Racing, but round 2 for these guys as they look to the lights for the first time, and they're away down into turn 1. It's a good start from Mick Williams as we see a change as Adrian Ems slots into second place there ahead of Mark Parker. So now that's Mick Williams already running away with it at the front.
Yeah, brilliant start there from Mick Williams, already up into a dominant lead as they exit already through the exit of turn 3. The battle behind will rage on, as you can see sparks being dropped up there by the 127 of John Hosker, the 44 of Adrian Ems and Claire Ems. They're battling, and they've just moved up into third position, but you can see sparks being lifted up by the frames of these bikes as they try and rattle their way around this I wouldn't say it's too bumpy, but clearly they're making it look so.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're absolutely giving it everything around this Rowrah circuit, and I guess I'll find out how bumpy it is later on, looking at these riders. Brilliant battle in this one as he goes wide out of that one and just loses the position there. So not what he would have wanted there, but Mick Williams out the front of this one, absolutely flying in this one. Adrian Ems slotted himself into second place, looking comfortable in that second place at the moment as well, ahead of the number 230 of Mark Parker there, who's just defending that third place.
Yeah, and you can see obviously the drive out of that corner was caused by the fact they were only on 2 wheels, and when you've got 3 you need to be using all 3 of them, and one team that is the 26 of Mick Williams and Michael Elms, who have kept all 3 wheels very much planted on that ground as they sweep around in the second sector of this lap. And you can already see it's a 4.1 second advantage, and that was across lap 1, so you can think that they're going to be getting quicker and quicker and quicker. And this is John Hosker on screen, who will be your driver. So he goes very
won't be
wide
driving like that with no one. But no, yeah, that's John Hosker, kind enough to let me have a go, and just having fun around this Rowrah circuit there, in 5th place in this race on that all black outfit there. But it's Mick Williams out the front, comfortably quicker than anyone else, 59.5 on that last lap. The closest to him, Adrian Ems in second on a 102.4.
Yeah, But Adrian and Claire Ems doing a good job moving up from third into second in this one, and Adrian driving and Claire currently passenger on that one, and they are circulating and will be hoping at holding onto position, but they're in a battle with Mark Parker on the 230 bike, and that is going to seemingly getting very close indeed. So good to see some sidecar action going side by side, but it is still the 76 of the Ems pair, the married couple of Adrian and Claire, that are circulating in second position. They jumped ahead of Mark Parker, who started in second, so it's been a swap around for second and third place there. However, at the front, checking out is Mick Williams, doing exactly what we saw at Wilton Mill, where they absolutely blistered themselves away. So yeah, watch out for Mick Williams later on in this one, because he will be setting some really, really hot times. In fact, last time around, 4 seconds faster than anyone else on circuit, and Mick Williams goes purple with 59.572. The battle between Adrian Ems and Mark Parker is still continuing across the line. They were split by 0.3 of a second. In fact, they're trying to go side by side as they go down towards turn 4 at McRae's, and in fact they are side by side as we come down towards the second bit. You can see the front lifting up there, the bodywork of the bike behind, and that's Ems as he drifts his way around turn 5 at Ardales, back up into second position. A little bit of contact between the pair of them, lifted up that front bodywork, but just about managed to keep his nerve and back on the power. And you can see Claire using her body weight to sweep around and making sure that that bike gets into all the right positions. The passenger is as important as the rider here to make sure that you keep it on all 3 wheels, and we're looking forward to seeing what Tristan can do when he heads out there on circuit, because it is definitely an acquired skill to be one of these passengers, because you are holding on for dear life, hoping that your rider can make it through each one of these corners. But currently it is still Mick Williams from Adrian and Claire Ems, Mark Parker in third position, and then Vince Bailey back in fourth. Unfortunately, we've lost John Hosker. He has stopped out on circuit, but the battle is still going on for second and third position, with Mick Williams checking out. He's now almost 14 seconds up the road from anyone else, and we're on the penultimate lap, so about a lap and a half left to go. So if you are Mark Parker, you need to start putting the pressure on, and we saw them changing position, but it is now back up at the front, and it is Mick Williams and Michael Elms, and you are putting on a real show, showing you exactly what you need to do on these mini F1 sidecars. And they're making their second outing here at FAB-Racing this season. They made their debut back at Wilton Mill, where they took a hat-trick of wins on that 26 machine, and now back out here at Rowrah for their second race of the season. And once again, we are seeing almost deja vu. It is once again Mick Williams and Michael Elms that are just enjoying themselves out there, currently 16 seconds ahead of anyone else, with that battle going on for second, with the 76 and the 230 of Adrian and Claire Ems and Mark Parker in third position as well. But coming around the last lap will be Mick Williams, and once again we're seeing a dominant display from this blue and yellow, lovely liveried, almost classic looking livery from Mick Williams on the 26, and Michael Elms doing a stellar job to make sure that every corner, every apex is being nailed. It is just perfect riding from the pair of them, really showing you what you have to do to be dominant here in this mini F1 sidecars as they round the final corner for the final time up to the line. And it's in fact last lap, so I got a little bit ahead of myself there. Last lap board is now out, so it was, you can see the checker flag is being readied, but it will be Mick Williams will have one more time to go around, so he probably set himself up for a big finish there, but I'm sure he'll enjoy himself with one more lap. And in fact that's going to give Tristan a little bit more time to get ready and run out there, and he's getting, you can see his nerves are starting to shake, but drifting around turn 5 goes Mick Williams, really putting the power down early, and the pair of them know that this extra lap just allows them to build that lead out a little bit more. So it's now out to 19.6 seconds, and they've now just got 4 corners left to go in this one, and 1 lap extra for the mini F1 sidecars, rounding out the final race of the day here at the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship, round 6 from Rowrah. We've got plenty more racing to come tomorrow, but for the final time today, around the final corner will come Mick Williams, and he will be coming up to the line and taking the checkered flag. What a win, what a dominant display. That's 4 wins on the bounce for Mick Williams on the 26. Behind, the battle between Ems and Parker is still going on. It looks as though Adrian and Claire Ems will be holding on to second position. They will be coming up to the line very shortly. You can see just how much of a gap it was between the winners and second position. To cross the line does come Adrian Ems. Mark Parker in third position, rounding out the podium. 1.8 seconds behind the 76 in second position. And Vince Bailey will be the last bike on circuit, circulating after we lost John Hosker. And hopefully we will manage to get Tristan on John Hosker's. We'll have Tristan on his bike very shortly, and Tristan has very much done a Superman-like and spun around behind me very, very quickly, and I'm sure you'll see very quickly you're a totally different man. Hello, how are you doing? It's Tristan Finocchiaro wearing his leathers, getting ready to go out on circuits, and yeah, so Tristan, you've got to be excited for this one.
So not quite as comfortable as I was earlier on in a polo, but no, yeah, completely just like you say, spun around there, and now into my leathers, ready to get on that sidecar later on today. So I'm back now.
Yeah, so we will be getting this done, and you will be able to see all of the highlights of it tomorrow. So make sure you tune in for what is going to be a brilliant feature of a young 20-year-old screaming his way around a circuit, and he's used to the Supersport 600 bike, not being a passenger, being thrown around a kart circuit. But it has been a brilliant day's racing for the first races of the weekend here from West Cumbria Kart Circuit up in Rowrah, and we've seen plenty of action, whether it be Ethan Sparks, who seems to be possessed at the moment, whether it's on the mini bike or on the metric kit, the GP50s. Ethan Sparks looking very, very strong. We can only expect to see him do very well tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can only expect to see him just trying to edge out that championship lead even further. Equally for the championship battle between Lucas Brown and Johnny Garness as well. But plenty of action ready to come tomorrow, and we've had plenty of action today as well.
Yep, so thank you very much for joining us for this first day. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for a full day's racing here from Rowrah. My name is Gareth Hall, joined as always by Tristan Finocchiaro. We will be back for wall-to-wall action from here in Rowrah tomorrow, so make sure you join us. Have a great Saturday evening. We'll see you soon.
Let's go! The official BSB Partner Series. This is FAB-Racing. Yeah.